Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the greater Chicagoland area for the Best Friends Animal Society 400 from virtual Chicagoland Raceway here to conclude the 2025B Belly Up Sports Cup Series season. My name is David Westergreen. I am joined tonight by Zach Evans, our producer, David Huckleberry, and Sam Beltwell and Dominic Wright on race control. And Zach, as we close out the 2025B season, 4 drivers to go for a championship tonight. How do you feel this race is going to play out on this awesome speedway?
Well, I mean, for the first time we've seen here in this Cup Series, full distance 400-mile race for the championship. It's going to be a lot of walking that fine line, knowing you're going to have to run up front to beat one of these other 3 championship contenders, but you don't have to do it right off the jump. We're going to have 3 hours to figure out who's there at the end. It's going to take a pretty close to a perfect race, I think, but that doesn't necessarily mean you've got this thing.
Right. And certainly that would help, but judging by our qualifying runs, I don't think any of our championship 4 are going to be leading all 200 plus laps in this one, much like Blake Reynolds did last week. So before we jump to the starting lineup, we are going to bring a couple of our championship drivers up. In fact, all 4 of them for a short pre-race thoughts and notes. Jonathan Cutlip, you were here in this same spot last year. Longer race this time around. You start, looks like 3rd best of the 4 championship contenders. What's your thought process here going into this race?
Yeah, it's pretty much just 267 laps and just take it a lap at a time. Hopefully it's not too eventful. Yeah, it's like I said, it's kind of like one of those races where a lot of it is outside of your hands, and just hopefully you're on the right side of things.
Gotcha. Well, good luck tonight, John, and we'll see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing.
Hopefully I can put on a good show for you guys tonight.
Sounds good. Have a good luck.
Thank you.
Grabbing these guys in the order in which they joined the waiting room. So I'll grab Matthew Weeks here. We'll talk to him. Matthew, 2 times you've been in this situation and won the championship. A couple of times you've also been here and not won the championship. Give me your thought process going into this race as you start best of the championship 4 contenders this evening.
I just treat it like another race, man. You just gotta do what I've done pretty much all my, elite career, man. Just try to be solid. Luckily, I got the slump of bad qualifying out for this race and was able to qualify good and get a decent starting spot. So I feel good about that. So now we just gotta execute and don't have a mistake like I did Monday night, and I feel pretty good. So hopefully we can bring home number 3.
Sounds good. Good luck tonight, Matthew.
Thank you.
We'll grab last week's winner, Blake Reynolds, bring him up here for his pre-race interview. Blake, you start 2nd of your championship 4 contenders.
Did not execute in that race, not at all. I sped, and then the tire didn't react how I thought it was going to. And unfortunately, just because the race is starting a little earlier, I live in Texas, I don't exactly get as much practice. I walk in the door, I scarf down my dinner, and I'm sat in the rig now. So the dinner's not even settled, and I'm about to run 400 miles. So I'm ready for it. I've got the experience. I know, I'm a champion of the series. I know what I have to do. So I'm going to give it my best and represent Channel 199 and Track Racer the best I can.
Sounds good. Well, Blake, I guess one more question, because now we're being asked to push these interviews out a little bit longer. But, rolling in from last week's or last season, rather. Well, actually, let's go back to last week. You led every lap at Richmond. You're not going to be able to lead every lap this week, I don't think. So how do you kind of reverse that mindset after being able to kind of dominate a race on that short track and, come over here to the big track and have to fight your way to the front?
Well, I could certainly try to lead every lap. But I kind of prefer the short tracks, honestly. These faster tracks, ever since the last couple of updates to this car, it just hasn't fit into my driving style, So I've always appreciated the short tracks. It almost kind of drives, like a modified, a wider tire. But when you lose that grip, you really lose it. So at the same time, it's a GT3 car. It's what the overlords of NASCAR want us to drive, sports cars. If I wanted to do that, I'd go race IMSA. I do like IMSA, but not on my North American ovals.
Gotcha. Well, good luck tonight, Blake. We'll see if we're talking to you at the end of this thing as a defending champion or two-time champion would be for you tonight. So good luck, and we'll see you after the race.
Yes, sir. Have fun.
Well, let's go now and talk to Justin Wadsworth, the final of our Championship 4 members. And Justin, first of all, congrats on getting in here. But second of all, what's your thoughts on this race tonight? Obviously, you've been here once before, and I'm sure have a really good chance and a good memories of the last time you were here and able to win the championship.
I do, yeah. I'm glad to be back. We'll go out there. Hopefully have a good, clean race, long one tonight, and hopefully get some green flag runs. And I think we'll be just fine.
Gotcha. Well, we've got about 5 minutes here before you guys actually start rolling out on the grid, and we were planning to go through these as quick as possible so we can get you guys out there and racing. But as it were, we got a few minutes to fill. Why don't you take us through the race sponsor? Because I do believe that you are the one who was able to partner us in with Best Friends.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As you guys know, I've started kind of doing this thing where I choose a charity every season and then donate some of my winnings towards it. And then also host a charity race. So this season it's going to be the Best Friends Animal Society. They do a lot of things for cats and dogs, making sure that everyone finds a home and advocates for no-kill shelters. And I'll be having a race on, I think it's going to be December 29th. Haven't decided the format on that yet, but it'll be a $10 entry fee like the last one. $5 to the charity, $5 to the winning purse. But I know from last season when I did this, a lot of people donated more than $10, and anything over that $5 entry fee for the race winnings go straight towards the charity. And then I'm fortunate enough that I work for a company that will match any donations I make. And I know last season with St. Jude's, I think we had $865 that we raised through Elite, and then it got matched by my work. So yeah, really excited for that. It's a really cool thing I get to do, kind of, use my hobby to be for the greater good. And look out for some more information on that.
For sure. I mean, any thought towards what that car's, the track, any of those things are going to be, or all out in the ether right now?
Kind of on the ether right now. I think kind of what my choice would be maybe wouldn't be the popular decision always. So just like last time, I'm going to throw up a poll in the Elite Discord so you guys can vote. I'll throw some super speedways in there. Maybe kind of just a wacky one too, just to make it a little bit different if that's something people would be interested in. But yeah, no like concrete ideas quite yet, but I'll probably throw that up either this week or next week. I don't want to do it too far away from the event because I know people tend to forget. So if it's at least a little bit more fresh, I think we'll get a better turnout. But yeah, really looking forward to it. And a big thanks to the broadcast team, the announcers, Chad, for, coming together to do this for me and for the charity. Really cool stuff that we're able to do something like that through our league here.
Gotcha, Justin. Well, just a couple of minutes left here, so we'll let you go ahead and go back. But before we do, good luck tonight, man. You'll try to go out there and win your second championship, and I think you're starting last of your championship rivals, so go up there and pass them all, buddy.
Yeah, that's the plan, man. I saw the chat earlier today on Elite, and it seems like they always seem to label me as the underdog, and I live for that man. I'm pumped for tonight, and hopefully you guys will see me up front here soon.
Gotcha. Well, good luck tonight, Justin.
All right, thanks, guys.
There's our championship 4. They are ready to race, and so are we. But why don't we go ahead and jump into the starting grid while we have a chance here? I think that's probably the way to go. For this race, the 4D race, our Pull Award winner will be Garrison Hogan. Alongside him will be Gavin Hibbs. Matthew Weeks, one of those championship favorites, is there in P4. Caleb Pecumer will start 3rd. Scott Crump will start in P5 alongside Jaden Racimus. Racimus getting an EOL heading to the back. Blake Reynolds, another one of those championship contenders in P7 alongside Trey Holmes. Ryan Gable and Tyler Fody round out the top 10 for Lake Norman Motorsports. And then Jesse Racimus starts alongside another one of our championship hopefuls in Jonathan Cutlip.
row 7, Corey Abbott's on the inside, along with championship contender Justin Wadsworth. Starting 15th will be Ethan Stanley, Daniel Gore, a couple of drivers who fell out of the playoffs last time out. That is the front row.
We've restarted.
That reset.
Apparently restarted it.
All right.
Hey, there! Look at that Matthew Weeks guy. There he is again.
I could talk about him a little. We still
Yeah.
haven't gone past the grid.
He's won a bajillion full distance races. We'll see if he wins another one tonight. Yeah, there's Scott Crump and Jaden Racimus again. Blake Reynolds, of course, battling for the championship. Is Trey actually in the Carolina Blue? I don't know how I feel about that. Basketball's going well. Basketball's going well.
Certainly better.
Certainly better. Can't be worse than football. Yeah. There's Jesse Racimus and Jonathan Cutlip. That's the 6th row again. Deja vu.
We're back.
Hey, there's Corey Abbott and Justin Wadsworth. That's the 7th row. Of course, Justin Wadsworth, one of our championship contenders tonight, as I mentioned. That'll take us to the 8th row with Ethan Stanley and Daniel Gore, a couple of drivers who fell out of playoffs after the last race. We'll go back to the 9th row. Tate Lytle and Gerald Campbell. His
What an interesting.
team logo not playing nicely. On the 10th row, we have Seth Rawls and Justin Vandermeer. We'll go another row back to Dustin Dewar making his 200th Belly Up Sports Cup Series start. He'll be alongside Brent Jones. Take us back to the 12th row. Paul Mikolajczyk is starting 23rd. Chad Frankenfield will start in the 24th position.
And to close out our grid, we've got Ray Bracey for the South Shore Racing Team in 25th. Michael Goodman starting 26th for Do Good Motorsports. 27th will be Michael Hosack Portrait. And in 28th will be Kurt Gibson. We'll get those guys fixed up for next season's races. Ethan Burrell will start. Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Ethan Burrell will start 29th. Carlos Acosta will roll from 30th with one of our onboard cameras. Johnny Thomas and Gavin Higgins will go from this 16th row, both with the slight photo updates there that we'll have to correct. And then Marker Bilas and Harrison Talon finish off our 34 car field for this race.
We have, from Monday's broadcast, Mark pronouncing his last name during an interview.
Oh.
So now
Is it
we know.
Rebelus.
There we go. Okay.
Rebels.
I'm sure I'll still mispronounce it. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, it's fine. It's kind of ingrained from multiple years of whatever this is we do.
Garrison Hogan, the pole sitter for this final event of the 2025 B season, will lead us to the green flag. 267 laps at Chicagoland. We are racing now. It is Hogan and Gavin Hibbs side by side going towards turn 1. Caleb Pecumer, another really good qualifying effort for Pecumer. He'll be running for 3rd alongside Championship 4 contender Matthew Weeks. Blake Reynolds get a little bit loose there. He's 3 wide on the bottom in the back here. Reynolds 3 wide with those Lake Norman Chevys. Precarious spot early for one of the Championship 4. Reynolds falling back, loses a spot to Gavel. Trey Holmes, Tyler Fody to the outside of the 66. Garrison Hogan led lap 1. This is the battle for that second spot in the championship right now. They're chasing Matthew Weeks, who's up in 3rd. Blake Reynolds falling back early. Jonathan Cutlip working to his outside, trying to make up spots in the early going.
Of course, those championship contenders, you'll see the orange windshield banner, the orange spoiler on the car, as well as the orange number in our scoring pylon to the left-hand side of your screen.
Caleb Pecumer dives to the inside of Matthew Weeks, trying to take over that second spot from the Championship 4 contender. Gavin Hibbs looking for the race lead underneath the 55 car of Garrison Hogan. Hibbs running an all gold scheme. I love it. New look this week for Gavin Hibbs. He paints his own cars. No, that's a special creation for the finale here. Matthew Weeks, though, to the inside. He'll go around that 95 car. Not quite clear is Matthew Weeks. Gavin Hibbs fights back on the outside. Look at that on your left side of your scoring pylon. Justin Wadsworth up to 10th already, right in behind Jonathan Cutlip. Oh, Scott Crump almost. That's Percumer almost into the side of Gavin Hibbs.
And of course, no surprise to see Ryan Gable one of the first to run the cushion here at Chicagoland.
And that's something we'll keep our eye out on. This next gen car typically likes to run that top groove early in the run, but you pay for it later in the run. Ryan Gable is currently expecting a short run, I believe, and he's up here trying to put down really fast lap times and get as much track position as he can in the hopes that we get a short run.
Well, there he has the fastest lap of the race so far, finding plenty of speed up there on the high side, and he's got a storm to the lead here ahead of Garrison Hogan.
Gavin Hibbs runs third. Matthew Weeks behind him. The Lake Norman Chevys are side by side for fifth between Percumer and Crump. They're all chasing Ryan Gable right now. Here's that first battle between those LNM Chevys. Crump way up high. He's won 2 races this season. Caleb Percumer, he's had a pretty strong showing this year, especially in qualifying, running up here in the top 10 early. Crump now making a move to the inside of his best buddy Matthew Weeks, and Weeks lets him go a little bit.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks is going to think big picture. He knows that 90 car not one of the championship contenders, and I'm sure Matthew Weeks is confident in his long run pace. Why wouldn't he be?
You said something earlier, I think, that was in the Elite Cups. Oh, Caleb Percumer's sideways, right in front of the championship 4. They dodge him. Heart-stopping moment for Jonathan Cutlip as Percumer loses it in front. And this is one of the stories, I think, that this 59 car qualifies extremely well. Just has struggled with that long run pace where he pushes very hard to keep that car up in the front, and it tends to bite him exactly as it did right there.
Yeah, absolutely. The short run pace has been there for him. And honestly, in that sense, one of our most improved drivers this season. But as far as putting together the full package, it has been a challenge at times for Caleb.
Caution is out, so Percumer will get to catch back up to the field. Caution was behind our championship 4, and it was Gavin Higgins and Ethan Burrell right in the same area of that Percumer slide. I wonder if something similar didn't happen with a different car. Oh, it's Ray Bracey sideways, and it looks like in the stack up, Ethan Burrell got tagged by Jaden Racimus. They're going to collect a few more cars. Oh, Higgins got a piece of Mikolajczyk going by.
Mikolajczyk would have certainly thought he was clear of it, and then he gets hit in the right rear there. Oh no, Carlos.
Carlos gets to fishtailing while trying to lock up for the brakes. He's, I think, going to miss Mikolajczyk here. Why don't we go to full speed here, Dave, so we can get through this wreck. Maybe see a over-the-top angle. Yeah, there we go. From the stack up there. I think Ray just got a little bit loose. Started out. Yeah, Carlos got maybe a piece of the grass, trying to slow it down. Ultimately, I think the only damage really was to Gavin Higgins. Maybe a little on the Ethan Burrell machine.
Yeah, it looks like Ray Bracey actually did a pretty good job there of gathering that car back up. But of course, Ethan Burrell checks up, and I have to believe it probably gets tagged in the rear in the process.
Yeah, right there. I think just a little bit by Mikolajczyk. I don't think it did it didn't do any visual damage to the 7 car. He has brought it down pit road anyway, among several others. Notably, Ryan Gable did stay on the racetrack. Oh, and there's the big contact on the inside wall for Higgins.
Yeah, that's probably the hardest hit in this incident.
Higgins has retired from the event. He is disconnected from the server. He will finish last here, concluding what was a pretty good season, I think, for Gavin Higgins. But he had a couple of internet woe type races, and then a couple of those incidents that really could have been a couple of races that could have been maybe a little bit better, but ultimately were not, as Ray Bracey does go ahead and get the yellow flag, or the tally rather. Quick look through the field. Ryan Gable, Gavin Hibbs, Scott Crump, pole sitter Garrison Hogan, and then the first championship 4 contender, Matthew Weeks, in the top 5. Jonathan Cutlip will be 6th. He's driven through the field to 12th, or from 12th starting spot rather. Ethan Stanley 7th. Justin Wadsworth's up to 8th. Tyler Fody is 9th. Corey Abbott will restart 10th here. Blake Reynolds just outside the top 10 in 11th spot. Then it'll be the rest of the guys who stayed out on that last pit stop. Looks like Jesse Racimus, Justin Vandermarl, Tate Lytle, Daniel Gore, Gerald Campbell, Brent Jones, Seth Rawls, Dusty Dewar, Kurt Gibson, and then I think Michael Goodman would be the last one, though I think maybe Rawls is first one who got tires. So, re-racking it. Lap 11 of 267 complete. Looked like, Zach, after 10 laps, the car started to get really loose. We saw Pecumer slide sideways, and then obviously the spin from Ray Bracey as well. So it appears to me that after 10 or so laps, this car starts to really loosen up on these guys. Pace car is down pit road. We will continue the Best Friends Animal Society 400. Gable with... Oh, Justin Wadsworth out of the groove. He's 3 wide. Back in the pack is Justin Wadsworth. 4 wide even for a second. Wadsworth will lose all the spots that he gained in the early part of this race.
And that's where you've got to remind yourself still, I mean, more than 250 laps in this race. Just settle back in. Make sure the tires are okay, not overheated. Get back into a rhythm. We can make these spots back up.
He already is. Around Tate Lytle, around Daniel Gore. So Justin Wadsworth already trying to recover as Jonathan Cutlip works in behind Gavin Hibbs right now. Tyler Fody trying to take advantage of this restart and move forward again. He's underneath the pole sitter Garrison Hogan. Ethan Stanley is there in the red and black car. Look at that, 5 red and black cars on your screen all at once, Zach. I don't always hope for a new season, but I do hope that these painters just get a little bit different than red and black is what I'm hoping for.
Here's hoping.
Got Justin Vandermarl in that group as well, and guess what color he's in this week? Yep, it's red and gray. Just about the same as everybody else, it seems like. It won't hurt your eyes at all. Corey Abbott's the one on the outside there going after Blake Reynolds is Matthew Weeks. Another red and black car, mind you, is up here in 3rd spot trying to hold this pack at bay.
Matthew Weeks kind of has dibs, though. He's been running that scheme pretty consistently for a long time now.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and at the very least, right, I think the Channel 199 guys have come in and Blake Reynolds runs the blue and black version of the 66 car sometimes. I think there's some merit that they can utilize to go some other colors. I mean, Mikolajczyk's in a gold car this week. I think they can find a way to get things creative and easy to spot for us here in the booth. It's a light complaint. We don't actually care that much. You'll note.
I care terribly. Do not let David deceive you.
Oh, Vandermarl just about down and into the door of his teammate Jesse Racimus there. The Fueled Up Racing Chevys almost into one another, and the South Shore Chevy of Daniel Gore trying to take advantage way up on the outside lane.
You were talking about when we get a few laps into this run, the car getting freer. I think a characteristic we've seen pretty consistently over the years with this next-gen platform is on a track like this, it has that progressive banking, ever so slight as it may be at Chicagoland, but it is there. Those transitions from one degree of banking to another can be very, very tricky with the independent suspension components on this next-gen car.
I think it's not unlikely that that's what happened to Caleb Pecumer and Ray Bracey earlier in this race. Let's zip up to the front of the field because there was a change for the number 1 spot in our championship group. Jonathan Cutlip has bypassed Matthew Weeks. Tyler Fode and Weeks now fighting furiously for the 5th position behind him, but Cutlip has cemented himself as the number 1 contender early in this one. He is driven from 12th starting spot all the way up to 4th, and that car looks very quick. Matthew Weeks is not done, though. He's keeping Cutlip right there. We heard Weeks talking about the race on Monday. You know, Jonathan Cutlip didn't mention it, and I'll say that's because Cutlip is a very humble guy. Just about every time we do an interview with him, I lay it up for him to try and, you know, talk bad, not badly about his teammate, but give some fire. And Jonathan Cutlip almost always defers to the humble side of things, takes it very nicely. And on Monday, he won the championship in our Grand National Series, very fast, right? And I think Matthew Weeks mentioned making a mistake. I think Jonathan Cutlip has a lot of momentum right now, and you know he's the only one of our championship 4 that have not won a championship in this series yet. And it's like
and
he said,
you know how
it could
hungry
be
he
today.
has to be after the way season unfolded, right? It's he was very close. You could make the argument he should have been last year's champion. Certainly with the events that played out at Las Vegas in the finale. Ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd have Christmas all year round. But nevertheless, I'm sure there's nothing he would love more than to rectify that with the championship tonight.
He's currently battling Matthew Weeks. Weeks is in right behind him, almost looking to the outside right now, but you're watching ahead. That battle between Gable, Crump, and Hibbs from on board the championship contenders as Weeks goes to the outside and bypasses Jonathan Cutlip. That's starting to heat up, and that's going to bring these guys closer. But yeah, you know, Cutlip has been so gracious about the incident regarding that event, and I know I wouldn't be nearly as gracious as Jonathan Cutlip has been, so I just want to hammer that home. Like, this guy has been incredibly nice about all of that, and even in the early, you know, the pre-race interview today, he was very much, you know, whatever happens, happens. I'm just happy to be here, and this is one of the fastest guys on the service. Like, this guy is extremely quick, and he's just so humble, and you love to see that, man. He's a good guy, and glad to be calling, see if he can't win a championship here tonight. Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fode are battling behind this group of 5, and they are holding up Blake Reynolds and Justin Wadsworth right now. Reynolds right on the back bumper of his teammate Ethan Stanley, trying to get around Tyler Fode. Fode on that bottom of the racetrack. Wadsworth hanging in tow, but again, having gotten up out of the groove and having to use the outside line to fight back to 10th right now, or I guess he's 9th right now. It certainly, I think, harmed the tires on the 6 car, and I'm wagering he's looking forward to the point at which he can go to pit road and strap 4 fresh ones on.
Yeah, I think this is the tough part when you realize you're going to be in a decently long green flag run here, is finding that balancing act between how much can you use now, how much can you use later of the tires, especially if you're in one of those championship 4 drivers positions, because sure, it's easy to say, oh, save tires, it's got to be a long race. Oh, you don't have to drive too hard, it's got to be a long race. But if it does take on that long green flag run, it's got to be really hard to get that track position back as we get further and further into the run.
Exactly. Speaking of track position, Scott Crump has risen up to challenge Ryan Gable for the lead. Gable is working this high line. He's not pulling away from Scott Crump, but he's certainly very smooth with his lane. And right now what we're seeing, Zach, it might be a bit of a product of they called it an oval refresh. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening right now, but what we're seeing is these guys are all running 3 different lines. I'm seeing grip in all 3 lines. They're trying to get out from the dirty air, which is obviously, I think, it's prevalent in iRacing, and they've really tuned that up to match the real world dirty air. Now you're seeing guys, maybe Ryan Gable's able to make that high line work.
Well, I think that would be huge for our racing product here. If that is the case, we'll see how it plays out into the long term. But you're absolutely right. We did have the pretty significant iRacing update this week, with it being week 13, as it is called. and they promised, you'd see a overhaul of the track temperatures and how they interact with these cars on the oval racing surfaces, and hopefully that does make that multi-groove racing a little more viable and give drivers on the attack another tool in the toolbox against that dirty air.
Yeah, that's really what we've been hoping for. We looked at that race at Richmond last week. Obviously, no caution flag is later. Looks like it might be Kurt Gibson, who is slow on the apron there in turn 3.
Well, something has to have happened before this, surely.
This is on the exit of turn 2. Gibson kind of, he's doing a lot of those same. Is there smoke in front of him? I think there was. Somebody was loose in front of him on the apron. I don't know what drew the yellow, though. Was it just this?
Surely not. He's not even on the racing surface. Was there something else?
I saw someone sideways
up. Out before that. We watched him drive back on the apron. Hey, there we go.
That looks like a wrecked race car there. Unfortunately, it's third place starter Caleb Pecumer, and once again, this car loose on the racetrack, and Pecumer slides up, doesn't hit anything. Yeah, there you go. So he avoided getting a tally for the last slideways incident. This time, I believe Pecumer will grab one.
Although, time you saw right about that same point in the run, a couple of guys getting loose. And that'll bring the field to pit road here.
Remember, with the next gen car, you're in the throttle a lot. You're in the throttle more than just about any other car. When you're pushing that throttle pedal, that right rear tire is typically the tire taking on the most load. And so, when that tire starts to wear, that's when the loose condition begins to occur. And there's no side force on these next-gen cars, really. So I would really expect that to be a big piece of the culprit for these latest couple of incidents. Down and away is Ryan Gable. He will win the race off pit road, I believe, over Scott Crump, Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip, and Gavin Hibbs. Dave, do you want to go ahead and drop in our sponsor read here while we have a minute?
I'll read it.
Zach's got the sponsor read.
So before the start of tonight's Best Friends Animal Society 400, he has sponsored tonight's race on behalf of the Best Friends Animal Society, which is a charitable organization whose mission is to bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets and put an end to killing in America's animal shelters. Together, we can save them all. Of course, as Justin mentioned, he's also going to be organizing a fundraising event currently scheduled for December 29th, so circle that on your calendar. Make that part of your late December plans. Entry fee for the race will be $10, $5 of which will go towards the purse for the event. And anything beyond that $5 will go towards the Best Friends Animal Society. As Justin mentioned, last season he did a similar event raising funds for St. Jude Children's Hospital, and that event brought in $865 for St. Jude, which his workplace also matched. So, great chance to do good for a very charitable organization. Obviously, we hope everybody will be able to take part in that event on December 29th. But that's the story there behind the Best Friends Animal Society 400. Thanks to Justin Wadsworth.
Yep. Championship 4 contender is Wadsworth. He's currently the third best running of those. He picked up a spot on Blake Reynolds on pit road this last time through. So to prep us for this race, this restart, Ryan Gable and Scott Crump are on the front row. Matthew Weeks, Gavin Hibbs in row 2. It'll be Jonathan Cutlip and Ethan Stanley, row 3. Garrison Hogan and Wadsworth, row 4. Tyler Fody and Blake Reynolds round out the top 10. Into the restart zone and onto the loud pedal goes Ryan Gable. The outside line checks up ever so slightly And that allows that inside line to surge forward. Matthew Weeks alongside Scott Crump for second. He will have a very good run into turn one. I believe Weeks is clear, but Crump fighting back on the outside.
You know, you mentioned we're going to go 3 wide here for second. I'll hold that thought for a moment. Weeks in the middle, Jonathan Cutlip to the inside, Scott Crump to the outside, and Cutlip's got to get around both of them.
Down to the apron goes Cutlip, trying and get some ground on the best friends behind him. Crump and Weeks side by side now for third. Hogan and Hibbs side by side for fifth. Ryan Gable to the clean air, to the race lead. Here comes Ethan Stanley using the outside lane. He'll be 3 wide for that fifth spot, and Stanley will bypass both of them in turn one.
Power move there from Ethan Stanley, and now dive to the bottom, look to the inside, Matthew Weeks. Of course, Weeks has got to have that momentum on the high side. Stay about a car length or two ahead of that 91 car, but Ethan Stanley moving up into the top 5.
Tell you what, this oval refresh, early on, I have some good feelings about it. Jonathan Cutlip works the outside lane. Crump trying to pinch him up the racetrack a little bit, get some momentum on the outside himself. He's not going to get there. It'll be Cutlip working for second. Crump dives back in on the inside on the bottom. He's looking to try and clear, but I don't think he'll get there. They're going to catch right up to the rear bumper of Ryan Gable, though. These two are fighting hard for this second position, and they've caught Ryan Gable right now.
Yeah, they are there. It's about to be another 3-car, if not 4 or 5-car battle for this lead. Oh, Crump's loose!
Ooh, Scott Crump sideways. He was really pushing hard in the middle of the racetrack. This car's still out of control. He's going to hang on to it. Yellow's out. Oh, Carlos Acosta's going underneath him on the apron there. That might be what the caution's for.
Carlos, for letting us know what the caution was.
Scott Crump got loose underneath Jonathan Cutlip. That is the second Lake Norman car to experience that loose sliding condition around Jonathan Cutlip in this race. There's Carlos spinning to the inside. He and Crump are both off the track.
Yeah, that's odd. That's
I
very
think the caution was Crump, because Crump was still trying to gather it up.
Right. Which, to his credit, I think he was doing everything he could in his power to not bring out the caution, to keep that car, get that car to the apron while he was fighting for control of it, rather than overcorrecting and spinning in front of traffic. But I if I had to guess, I would say you are correct.
It's tough early in this race. Just seen this loose condition affect several guys, and it's all off on the exit of turn 2 as well. So if we can slide back just a little bit. Crump had gotten all the way up nearly alongside Ryan Gable, but you can see, you mentioned it already, Zach, when you cross those seams, and those right side tires are right on that outside seam. This car really lightens up in the rear. I think he might have been able to save it, but he checks up, and Jonathan Cutlip gives him a little bump, scoots him down to the inside, and then he's kind of a passenger from there, just trying to keep this car from driving up the track and wadding up a bunch more people.
Yeah, I mean, you can even see where he's locking up the brakes, trying to get that car under control, trying to keep it from washing up the racetrack. You can't ask for anything more from Scott Crump in that situation, I don't believe. But obviously that will not change the fact if race control believes it was his slide that brought out the caution. That is loss of car control leading to a caution. He would still get the tally. But once you're in that situation, I think there's nothing he could have done differently.
Right. And obviously these guys are still wrapping their arms around the new build, and this next gen car is always a little bit difficult, especially when it comes to crossing those seams and these high wear tracks coupled with the high gas pedal usage of this next gen car at a 1.5 mile track. It does produce some of those slides that we've seen before. And yeah, there you go. Race control giving that tally to Scott Crump for the loss of control, causing a caution. It's 1 to green. Ryan Gable's going to pick the inside lane. In front, next to him will be Jonathan Cutlip, the top running Championship 4 contender. Matthew Weeks will restart 3rd. Ethan Stanley 4th. Tyler Fody 5th. Gavin Hibbs will restart in 6th alongside Garrison. Garrison Hogan will restart alongside Justin Wadsworth, 7th and 8th. Daniel Gore into the top 10. He'll be alongside Justin Vandermarl. And then it's Blake Reynolds and Seth Rawls just outside the top 10 at this point. Reynolds has just not shown that pace that we've been accustomed to seeing from him early in this event. Though I can't help but wonder if that 66 car won't be quite quick if this race were to go green for 100 or so laps.
Right, he did mention it in his pre-race interview. Not a lot of practice for Blake Reynolds tonight. Pretty much getting straight home, straight from dinner, into the sim. So this might be a case where that full distance race, although it was the reason for the earlier start, might also give a few laps as the race goes on to serve as his practice before we get to the meat of the battle later on.
Excellent. We'll see if Blake Reynolds can overcome early struggles here at Chicagoland. Pace car is off. Ryan Gavel, still the race leader. He fires off early in the restart zone, counted it down for his teammate Tyler Fody, who got a nice jump and was able to accelerate early, but Matthew Weeks didn't get the memo. He is side by side with Jonathan Cutlett behind Ryan Gavel. Gavel out to the lead once again. Clean air on the nose of the 0-1 card. The one thing that I've found quite refreshing from this oval refresh is that, yeah, pun absolutely intended, is that the clean air doesn't seem to be hindering the guys behind Ryan Gavel quite as much. They can go find another lane and then run him down. They haven't quite been able to pass him yet. Chad Frankenfield, a moment off turn 4. Everybody's still straight. 15 car got a little bit sideways there, but yeah, I think the passing is significantly better in this next gen car today than it has been all season.
No, for sure. I think we've seen a lot more ability to make those moves so far in this race. And, you know, who knows, we might get later on and the track might lock down on a groove at some point. But I think the fact that we have those options early on at least shows some promise for this refresh.
It's certainly good to see at the beginning of this race, right? But there's a long way to go, and we've seen this type of thing before. Ethan Stanley slides up in front of Jonathan Cutlett, maybe a piece of the wall for that 91 car of Ethan Stanley, but he will maintain second for now. Cutlett back to the inside to fight for that spot with Stanley. Stanley, a guy that, Zach, I think you and I are both a little bit surprised has not got an orange banner on this 91 car today.
Definitely probably the biggest surprise of the round of 10, Ethan Stanley not moving on. But, I mean, that shows you how tough this Belly Up Sports Cup Series can be. That driver of Ethan Stanley's caliber not in the championship conversation this week.
Yeah, he is lightning quick, but last week, obviously, a self-inflicted incident at Richmond got him down in traffic, and then the race really went green. And he and Scott Crump both were really unable to make up ground despite having pretty quick race cars. It just seemed like it didn't go his way once the mistake was made, and it's yet again, Ethan Stanley will not be an Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series champion, and this is, I think, probably three seasons in a row here where it's a significant surprise that he's not going to be taking the crown home tonight. And I know that's going to put a fire under him for next season, though, that's for sure. Ryan Gable's doing a great job holding off Ethan Stanley for now. That 01 car has been very steadily consistent. He's been able to run both lanes, but he used the high line to get to the track position and grab the race lead. He's leading, Stanley second, Weeks charging in from behind, on board now with Ryan Gavel. Let me see what the leader's seeing. There's cars driving to his inside right now, or trying to, but Gavel able to run that middle lane. Very steady to this point. Gavel's like me. He likes running that apron. I like using the apron on these tracks. But that car is loose all of a sudden there in turn 1. Gavel held on to it unlike his teammates had, and here comes Matthew Weeks up to the outside lane. Gavel puts the block on him, but it's Ethan Stanley to the bottom of the racetrack. Tyler Fody working to the bottom as well. Gavel will use that top lane to try and defend this lead. Ethan Stanley's got the advantage, but the momentum carries Gavel back to the race lead. still up front. Ryan Gable able to hold on despite the bobble. He continues to lead this race. Really first time all season we've seen Ryan Gable in this type of position where he didn't just kind of immediately fall back. Gable Stanley, want to shout out while he's still here, Justin Vandermarl is up into the 6th position. 54 car quite quick on this short run. He's being hounded right now by his teammate Gavin Hibbs and then also Blake Reynolds. Reynolds has chosen to use that outside line to start to make up some spots, and he'll drive around Gavin Hibbs for the 7th position.
Now we are getting to that point in this run. We'll see if we can put some more laps into the books or if we're going to start seeing some more slipping and sliding like we have seen.
You're right. We're hitting that. It's about 15, 20 laps. It's happened just about every time we've gotten to this point so far. Somebody's lost control and gone for a slide. See if we can keep the cars clean for now. Reynolds looking to the inside of Vandermarl for the 6th position. Justin Wadsworth is on the prowl as well, just behind. He's trying to grab the 8th spot from Gavin Hibbs. Up front, Ryan Gable still leads. He's using this outside line to perfection. Stanley trying to work to the inside. Gable's still a little bit loose in this 0-1 car, but it's fast right now. It's seeming to work for him.
You know, one thing about, I always mention those transitions and how tricky they can be at a track like this, but I talked about this a lot with old Iowa. It definitely applies here as well. If you are able to run the top like that, it makes it a lot easier to not deal with the transitions if you're barely ever crossing over them.
If you're in one lane the whole way around this place, you're never crossing anything.
That solves a lot of problems for you on that front.
Yeah, the issue typically is that the tires get unhappy. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They get unhappy when you're up in that outside line. You get on the throttle so much earlier that it becomes quite difficult for the tires to maintain. But thus far in this race, the tire fall off for running that outside line has not been there. Ryan Gable's been able to use this outside line, hold firm in the race lead. He hasn't bounced it off the wall or anything. One bobble is all it's been, and Ethan Stanley wasn't able to capitalize.
I feel like Ethan is starting to close that gap a little bit. So maybe we've gotten far enough into this run, and now we're going to start seeing the price tag on that outside lane.
Right, and there typically is the way this game is modeled. Right, it's so difficult to have it function like real life, where you can go up there and rim ride basically, the Kyle Larson line, the Dale Jr. line. Hug the wall. Ryan Gable's certainly the car running the most outside of anybody. But Zach, I'll tell you, the thing that's encouraging me the most, and the thing I would much rather see, is these guys being able to run 2 different grooves.
Yes.
Around this racetrack. Ryan Gable's best bet is not to drop a bunch of dirty air on the nose of Ethan Stanley. It is to run the top and get the big run down the straightaway. That is, to me, a much better version of racing, oval racing, as it were, than the aero blocking stuff we've seen all season long.
I certainly hope that's what we're getting. I hope that is a product of this latest update. We will see how that unfolds, certainly throughout tonight. And then we'll have to take a break for a little while, at least here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series, with it being the season finale. But hopefully it will be a sign of good things before we come back to start the 2026 A season on January. Well, I guess, the 205 will be January 21st.
There you go. So yeah, we got about a month or so break here, and we'll be back. I'm excited now. I think this is thus far this has been good racing. One guy that's encountering some trouble. We need to go to it right now. Jesse Racimus just got loose on the back straightaway. He caught up to Racimus is gonna bring out the yellow. We're gonna have to go look at this. Blake Reynolds is the car that kind of stacked up this group. Racines was coming up on the bottom, and he kind of made an evasive maneuver to get around. Reynolds was struggling. He had lost a spot to Vandermarl. He had lost another spot before then. And you see this car is loose. Reynolds was the car that kind of caused this. I think Racines will end up getting the tally, but the issue started ahead of him. Look at that right there. Two of them. 95 and 66 both got sideways, and Jesse Racines is the one who's going to end up paying the price. It's 3 or so incidents near incidents for our champion 4. They've been able to kind of stay out of those problems. Another look at it there. Those guys slowing up in the center of the corner. Jesse Racines going for a slide on the inside. And the caution came out down here, so Blake Reynolds lost all 3 of those positions. Everybody coming down pit road.
Break at times when you get caught by when that caution comes out, as you see the field coming down pit road.
Yeah, you're right. The thing was, if the caution didn't come out, Blake was going to lose those spots anyway.
Right.
He was falling back. That car was bobbling and wiggling. Mikulášek stays out. He'll lead a lap. Good for Paul. New look for the 77 car.
We'll see if it's good for Paul. It's good for Paul right this second.
Right. We get him on TV.
We get him on TV. It'll be very
2 tire
interesting
stops.
to see how that car fires on the restart.
We'll see. He might just head down pit road. He might have stayed out to lead a lap. Ryan Gable lost like 5 spots on pit road, Dave. Do we have the capability to see whether or not 2 tires were taken by some of those leaders? Four by everybody. Except for Garrison Hogan. I don't know if that's accurate. Just your... Okay.
Interesting.
So we'll have 2 cars out here with very old tires. And it looks like Mikulášek will stay on the racetrack. The Golden Black Racecraft number 77 will restart with the race lead. Older tires. A look at Garrison Hogan's pit stop, the pole sitter. Yeah, it looks like a tire. Looks like tires.
Yeah.
There you go. So Brian Gable lost 5 spots on pit road. He'll restart 6th. It'll be Mikulášek, Ethan Stanley, then Championship 4 contender Matthew Weeks, Tyler Fode, another Championship 4 guy, and Jonathan Cutlip, then Ryan Gable, Justin Vandermarl, Gavin Hibbs, Justin Wadsworth, Daniel Gore round out the top 10. Blake Reynolds will restart 13th in his pursuit of repeat champions, being a repeat champion. Worth noting, Scott Crump has climbed to 12th. He was 10th before this pit stop. That 90 car after the slide before. So there's definitely some good pace in Scott Crump's car. He's already been able to overcome an early problem, and we'll see if he can't get further into the top 10 here on this run. Pace car is down pit road after our 4th caution flag of the race. Mikulášek into the restart zone. We are racing once again. Matthew Weeks gets a nice jump. After watching Ryan Gable run for the outside lane and try and grab the race lead, I can't help but wonder if these guys aren't going to have a land rush for the race lead right here.
Yeah.
Yep. It's going to be a log jam to try to get to the top and get in the lead. Gable was very difficult to pass. And so these guys are really going to try to push for it here. Stanley and Weeks side by side. Mikulášek falling like a rock. Tyler Fode to 3rd. Cutlip 4th. Gable back up top. He's running 5th. Stanley's going to grab the lead from Weeks. These guys are all up top now.
surprisingly got singled out pretty quickly, did these front runners, despite having to work their way around Paul Mikolajczyk.
Yeah, they're still fighting for it, but it does look like the clean air is still pretty strong. Gable's just pretty good at running that top lane. You can see he's making up ground on Jonathan Cutlip. It almost makes a little more speed than some of these other guys in that outside groove.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, especially as much as we've talked about with this refresh and the interactions of the car with the track temperature, we're going to see with this full distance race some swings in the track temperature just in general as the day grows longer here and the weather adjusts accordingly. In practice, it was about 10 degrees warmer on the track surface than it is right now, and it's dropped 2 or 3 degrees just in these first 60 laps.
Lead change. Matthew Weeks takes over the race lead from Ethan Stanley. But yeah, I agree. I'm real interested to see how that plays out. I think it'll continue to get cooler as this race goes on. I'm also interested to see if that doesn't play into some different drivers' hands. One of the things we used to see with regard to that, especially back in the day when the track temps, the races were much longer, the track temps would shift dramatically over the course of a race, especially in races like the Coke 600. You'd see completely different players by the end of the night. Right now, guys who are maybe not as fast, and I'm looking back there at our two back-end championship contenders right now, Justin Wadsworth and Blake Reynolds. If they don't maybe get a chance to pick things up when the track continues to cool off and the car tightens up a little bit. Battle continues for the race lead between Stanley and Weeks. The Lake Norman Chevys starting to move forward behind. A little bump draft from Ryan Gable to Tyler Fody. We know Ryan Gable loves to perform a little bump draft. It's a guy who loves a plate race. It'll lose, but
else like that.
No, we definitely don't work together quite well on those tracks either. Do I and Ryan Gable, but he's certainly running well right now. I mean, I think this thing is really right up his groove. Being able to run different lanes is so vital, almost into the side of Ethan Stanley. But to see Ryan Gable running well, caution's out.
Yeah, we have a caution.
Oh, it's there's a big wreck here on the front straightaway. It's Caleb Pecumer. Marker Bilas goes sliding. Gerald Campbell is around. One other car was up in the wall with Pecumer. I couldn't tell quite who it was. Caleb Pecumer's third incident of the race. Though I don't think this one was of his own doing.
No, it looks like I almost wonder Gerald Campbell being top of 3 wide if he was expecting Pecumer to go to the apron, and so he turned left expecting Seth to go to the white line or at least lower. And Seth didn't have that. That's not Seth. Seth has the gold car tonight. Who is in that car?
That is Seth Rawls in the 25.
That is Seth
there.
Rawls.
Yep.
I think Evan's in the gold car.
Yep.
Yes. So he was expecting Seth to go further down. He did not because there was a car to his left. Yeah. Oh, and Chad Frankenfield's got to get a piece of it too. Does Brent Jones get by?
Oh, we're going to need to go on board with Brent Jones. Does Bojo get through? Look at, man, we got some onboards to watch here. Goody gets, and Goody was the car I saw sliding up the track with Pecumer. Bojo would be a good one to go on board with. Dusty Dewar would be a good one to go on board with. Brent. All those guys sneaking through this wreck. Oh, man. Great work by Brent Jones. I feel like we said that once.
Did we lose David Westergreen? Nevertheless, riding on board with Pushkin here, Ray Bracey. He had to make 2 reactions there. I think he had the same first reaction I did, which was get to the bottom, and then the car started drifting down the banking in front of him, and he had to run the quick little halfback counter to the right.
My deck.
Maybe.
Okay. I should unplug my mic while I was talking. You love
No,
that.
you shouldn't do that.
Do her with a good avoidance as well as Ray Bracey and Brent Jones. And I was going to say, I feel like we say Brent Jones made a great wreck avoidance once the race. Able
Sure,
to get
yeah.
the
Ooh, another replay. Once
one more
we-
look.
I wish I had
What?
the Madden Telestrator here.
Down once, up again. You know who this does work out nicely for? It's Paul Mikolajczyk, who comes to get to bolt 4 fresh tires on and now have a tire advantage on the rest of the field.
And I think that's definitely a factor we're going to run into if we keep having these cautions every 10 or 15 laps or so. I think the first couple of cautions, you're like, oh, we're going to get a long run at some point. It's okay to go ahead and use the set here. Well, now I'm starting to wonder, are we going to get that long run? And in which case, you're going to have to stay out for a couple of these cautions. You're going to have to choose to give up the tires because God, it's, law of averages. You're going to need a set for every 30 laps or so of this race. And if you've been pitting every caution, you are burning through those sets at an alarming rate to still be 200 laps or so from the finish.
I think, I've done the math, Zach. Well, actually, I did the math wrong. We need to divide by 9. You have about 30.
Yes.
You're right on the money. You have about 30 laps on the money for each set of tires. I think the leaders have used 3 sets to this point. They are under pace. You're going to need to run green, or you're going to need to run more than 30 laps in a couple of these sets. Matthew Weeks is the race leader. Tyler Fode is on his outside, running second. You've got Ryan Gable and Ethan Stanley in the second row, Jonathan Cutlip and Gavin Hibbs in the third row, and we are going to go back racing once again. Weeks into the restart zone and off with the lead. Fode and his teammate Ryan Gable going to try to fight back. Gable's on the bottom. He is not loved to be there, but that 01 car has been quite quick in the early going of this race. Big run for Tyler Fode. Ryan Gable got through turn 1 well as well. He's going to challenge Matthew Weeks for the race lead. And get it.
But look
My
at
goodness.
what Gavin Hibbs says.
This is something we have not seen from this next-gen car at all this season. You have not been able to get runs like that.
Oh, that's contact.
Matthew Weeks into the door of Tyler Fode. And Weeks will clear Fode down the back straightaway. Fode stays to the bottom in front of Jonathan Cutlip. Gable leads. Hibbs running second. 2 guys that have not won a race this season, but have been close and have won races in the past years. So a couple of hungry drivers between Ryan Gable and Gavin Hibbs. Hibbs rockets to the bottom. That F95 very fast. He slides up in front of Gable. He'll get the lead. Gable cuts back to the inside. Darrell Waltrip calling that a crossover move.
And here we go again.
All right, folks, tag your nearest iRacing official and show them that the refresh is working. We haven't seen racing like this all season long. The guys have not been able to race like this.
He's not going to be able to throw the slider this time.
Nope. They're 3 wide behind him as well. They're two side by side for the lead, side by side for 5th, side by side for 7th. We've seen pack racing, but it was like 10th on back. Everybody in the top 5 was single file every single race in the 1.5 mile tracks. Gable leads.
This is not that pack racing, this is...
Right.
Yeah.
This is slicing and dicing. This is good quality 1.5 mile and a half track racing. Gable Hibbs. Weeks and Stanley. Stanley jumps to the inside on Weeks. Fode jumps to the inside on Crump. Dusty Dewar's off the track on the apron. Everything's okay for now. Daniel Gore's inside of Tate Lytle. Justin Wadsworth and Blake Reynolds are just kind of mired back behind this group. They are not able to make ground and have it the whole majority of this first run of the race. There is a stage coming here at lap 80. We will award points for the top 10. Now, the points do not matter for a championship 4, but for final point standings, guys like Ryan Gable, Gavin Hibbs earning some big points. That could be a couple of positions.
And hey, we don't talk about it a lot, but there is money on the line for especially those guys who were in the playoffs still battling for position.
Tyler Fode and Tate Lytle got a little bit of a piece of each other down the back straightaway. Yes, you're absolutely right. The money on the line, I've always thought that needs to kind of come second on the broadcast to the racing itself, the positions. But these guys are running for some money.
Oh, for sure.
Yep. Yesterday, Tyler Fode won the 2003 race at Contact Tree Stanley and Crump. They managed to hold on to it.
Oh, my goodness.
That could have been a wreck. Crump will clear.
Big wreck.
Crump will clear Stanley. That's about the 4th time Jonathan Cutlip's been right behind something involving one of those Lake Norman cars, funnily enough, though a couple of times it has not been their fault. I was going to mention, Tyler Fode won the race last night. Daniel Gore finished 6th. They ran full season points in that 2003. Oh! They're going to ensure I don't get... Scott Crump's around again. Oh, Gavin Hibbs direct with Ryan Gable. Justin Wadsworth got a piece of it. Justin Wadsworth's car is wrecked. Oh, no.
No.
Justin Wadsworth's car is destroyed. Gavin Hibbs and Ryan Gable wrecked for the race lead, for the stage lead. Matthew Weeks will now win the stage, and
that car is destroyed. It's not turning.
Completely ended the night of Justin Wadsworth. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh. He's got to bring it straight to pit road.
He's done.
Oh, my gosh.
2 separate incidents. Because Scott Crump was not the caution. Gavin Hibbs is wrecking up in front of Scott Crump here.
Yeah, he gets around this incident just fine. Oh, my. And he's probably completely unsighted to it or distracted by. Oh, my gosh. That's just.
Look at Blake Reynolds. Does Blake Reynolds get a piece of the wall and Ryan Gable as well? Do we? Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah, they wreck way up. They're battling for the lead in a straight line. Oh, my gosh.
There's no way. He could have seen... He saw maybe some smoke, but he probably thought that was extra contact after seeing a car spin to the bottom.
Yeah. There's no way you're expecting the leaders to be wrecking there. Not to mention, you're probably not focused on it. Your focus at that point was on.
Wow, and Ryan Gable caught...
What a terrible break. And now, did we see, I mean, you touched on it. Could we see if Blake Reynolds gets involved in this? Because that's a championship storyline as well.
Here's the wreck that does indeed result in the yellow. It's Ryan Gable getting loose and just gets a piece.
Got that transition.
Yeah, just gets a piece to Gavin Hibbs. Here's Blake Reynolds. Emergency maneuvers, gets into the wall, but he does avoid Ryan Gable. Garrison Hogan goes for a spin. Boy, that was a rough one for Channel 199.
Oh, my goodness.
That's still some decent contact on the right front tire for Blake Reynolds. He stayed out, though, so it might not be too bad.
I kind of feel like, you go back and watch the 92 Hooters 500, and Benny Parsons has to, apologize on the broadcast for how heartbroken he sounds when Ernie Irvin and Davey Allison come together in that race. And it's not that you're necessarily rooting for any one of these 4 guys, or that we're just devastated Justin Wadsworth is going to lose the championship on this, but you are devastated that any of the championship contenders would get tangled up in this, regardless of who it is.
I'll say it, but we both met Justin Wadsworth.
For sure.
Of all the guys, I haven't met any of these other guys. I haven't met Justin Wadsworth, and I definitely was rooting for him tonight. That's just tough, man. It's not, it's what I take it back to what Jonathan Cutlip said at the start of the race. There's not a whole lot you can do.
There's really not.
In one of these races, Justin Wadsworth has won races this season. He's finished top 5 in races this season. He's also been running in the top 5 in races this season and gotten wrecked just like that. It's just part of the thing. You signed up for it. when you load it into the race, you could experience crazy race and stuff. Get into the stage. Matthew Weeks will get the stage win. That is fairly irrelevant. Tyler Fody, Tate Lytle, Daniel Gore all came down pit road. Weeks, Cutlip, Reynolds all stay on the racetrack. It is possible Reynolds has some right front damage on the 66 car. He did whack the wall, avoiding the wreck that took out Justin Wadsworth. We will have to see how that 66 car responds. It was already not quite as quick as some of those other Championship 4 before. Right. And now he might have some damage, but he will also have some track position. We'll see if that doesn't play into a better role for him here. Jumping back to Scott Crump. He had been one of those guys, he kind of got lucky. He spun out there after contact with Stanley, and they end up out of the way of the wreck. Green flag is out. Crump got the black flag. I'm not sure what the... Matthew Weeks get a black flag? Okay.
No. Trying to do too many things.
Gotcha. Matthew Weeks to the race lead. Cutlip slices to the inside to try and take a hold of that from him. Justin Vandermarle's up here into the third spot. Chad Frankenfield's up into fifth. I will say I like staying out under this yellow, especially for our Championship 4. I think you need, like we mentioned it right before that caution, you need to have those extra sets of tires as we go through this race. You can't keep changing tires every yellow.
I think I completely understood it the first couple because you were expecting to get a longer green flag run. You were expecting I can afford to burn these because I'm still gonna have 2 sets in the pits when this is over. By the time we do some green flag racing, I think now it's time to react, call it audible because we have not gotten that green flag run yet.
Vandermarle to the outside. Reynolds trying to get to the inside. This 66 car is definitely a bit tighter. I think it's coming off the bottom of the racetrack. When he tries to run that bottom lane, Vandermarle gapped him right there, and Mikolajczyk and Frankenfield are now kind of all over the back bumper of the Blake Reynolds machine. Now, Mikolajczyk is a teammate to Blake Reynolds. He may just sit in behind the 66 car, try to help him out a little bit.
I mean, yes, but it's not super helpful when he's third out of 3.
Right. Maybe a little. I mean, we saw it earlier with.
Although defending him from Chad Frankenfield is probably worth a Congressional Medal of Honor all on its own.
Justin Vandermarle just took second from Jonathan Cutlip. He's up here challenging for the race lead. That's about the first time we've said that all season long. This 54 car's been on vacation for a decent amount of the season. Has not quite had the speed and pace to run up here with some of these top guys, but the winner from Atlanta a couple of seasons ago is challenging for the lead up here against Matthew Weeks.
He's got to look to the outside here in 1 and 2. We've seen how much, at least on the short run, how much pace that line can have.
Justin Vandermarle drives up and takes the race lead away from Matthew Weeks. There's a little bit of combination, I think, as well. Ryan Gable is one. Vandermarle is another. These guys don't have anything to lose by burning the tires off, right? This is the finale. If you can go up there and take the lead, go up there and take the lead.
Absolutely.
While Mikolajczyk drove around his teammate Blake Reynolds, he's coming after the race lead as well. Mikolajczyk did pit a caution later than Matthew Weeks and Jonathan Cutlip. The tires are a little bit fresher on this 77 car. Justin Vandermarle to the lead. Tyler Fody's trying to get around Chad Frankenfield and Jaden Racimus right now. Tate Lytle's also locked in behind them at the moment. Once those two clear, though, I think they'll drive right up to this rattle for the lead. Fody clears Frankenfield. Lytle does the same. Daniel Gore is the next driver on fresh tires, followed by Ethan Stanley. Gore, a little bit of contact with Jesse Racimus. Stanley's going to be able to get to the outside of Daniel Gore. Racimus back to the inside of Gore. They're 3 wide for 2 spots. Gore, Racimus into the side of Gore. Racimus to the apron, a little contact with Burrell. Jesse Racimus goes around. I don't know about all that. He hit the inside wall a ton as well, did Jesse Racimus.
Let's take that back to
Yep, keep going.
the initial right here. Yep.
Weeks got the race lead back, by the way, from Justin Vandermarl. Mikolajczyk's gotten second. Here's the look at the incident between Gore and Racimus. Gore drives it down in.
So they make contact, which I think Racimus was expecting Gore to go to the bottom, and he didn't. He was pretty steady on that middle lane. And I feel like what's going to happen here is Racimus is going to really make a point.
We'll try
and get to the inside of Gore, which is all well and good until you take yourself out in the process.
Was the rule that Landon Castle gave Danica Patrick?
Racing. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't wreck yourself.
Don't wreck yourself.
Trying to wreck somebody else. It kind of looks like what happened there for Jesse.
Sure. The optics are not great. The optics are not great for sure.
I think that might be the first time all race Blake Reynolds has made a pass for position. He went around Paul Mikolajczyk. That car has just not been quite as quick as we've been accustomed to seeing it. And here he is in 4th place, trying to hound down his championship for contenders. Matthew Weeks leads this race. Vandermarl runs 2nd, Cutlip 3rd, and then Reynolds. Cars on fresh tires are just behind, but Paul Mikolajczyk defending. The top, 8 are under a blanket right now. Top 7 within a second of each other.
Yeah, you can see them right there all in the frame.
We got this NASCAR trial going on, and caution's out. I'll never get to make a point.
Never.
I'll just stop making points.
This is starting to have to feel some of those late teens, early 2000s Cup Series races when the tires would just magically blow after a certain lap.
Yeah.
It worked like a caution clock. So we have Trey Holmes in this one. It looks like he probably just got loose, locked it up, and unfortunately momentum decreed. His car came to rest in the middle of the racing surface.
See if we can verify that that's what happened. I don't know if there's more to it than just him sliding across the apron here. Yeah, I thought there might be more.
No, doesn't look like it. Just gets loose right there. And then everybody gets by safely. You know, David, some eagle-eyed observers would say there's somebody in the infield care center.
Yes, I was just texting another guy to get into the infield care center. We'll grab the one that's already there for now and talk to Gavin Hibbs. And Gavin, early returns were pretty good for the 95 car. Car was painted well. Just wound up getting collected in a wreck. Take us through your night.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, you know. I felt like we had a good run tonight, or was hoping for a great run tonight, starting on the front row and, you know, being up in the top 10 most of the nights. And, you know, you would think for a full distance race, a lot of guys would, you know, you see a lot more give and take than what we normally see during the season. But I guess giving it's like I don't know. I guess some guys can't comprehend that, but yeah, new car or new paint scheme for tonight, and what you're going to see probably most of 2026, and looked good, looked really great up front. It's just unfortunate that you know, just stuff like this happens, but yeah, nothing you can do.
Well, I'll tell you, we both love the look of that new car, so I will be excited to see it on the track in 2026A. before that incident, though, what were your thoughts on kind of this new racing with the refresh that we saw tonight?
It's definitely a learning curve for sure, but I was hearing that compared to guys that were testing this on Monday compared to tonight, it is way different. For the somewhat better. You know, it's I was having a blast with it. Most guys were running the top line, as we've mostly been seeing tonight, and what we're going to continue to see tonight. But hopefully, hopefully this means better, more multi-lane racing. But only time will tell.
Gotcha. Well, hate to see you go, Gavin, but thought you had a solid season, and we'll catch you next year with the new paint, and hopefully it's a fun one for you.
Yeah, I can't wait for next year.
Gavin Hibbs, driver of the 95 for Fueled Up Racing. His teammate is on the front row here. Jonathan Cutlip will be racing against Blake Reynolds. When we go back to green, Matthew Weeks hit pit road. He will restart. Oh boy. Don't have it in front of me. There he is, 16th. See if that plays into this. Green flag is back out. Cutlip to the race lead. Reynolds trying to hang tough on that outside groove. They have much older tires than the cars behind. Stanley, Fody, Lytle, Gore. And here comes Stanley to the outside lane. Precarious spot for Blake Reynolds. Jonathan Cutlip to the race lead. Stanley through to second. Ethan Stanley drops to the apron. He'll try to take the lead over from Jonathan Cutlip. Stanley to the lead. Cutlip second. Fody third in front of Reynolds. Gore to the fifth spot.
Oh, Carlos Acosta once again in the grass. Will stay green.
They are four wide coming off turn 4. Caleb Pecumer, Mikolajczyk, Jaden Racimus. They sorted it out to 3 wide. They're still going to go into turn 1 3 wide. Now, Gavin Hibbs wasn't real happy. The guys kept spinning, I think, was the kind of culmination there. But the racing, I think, has been much better than it has been just about all year long. Scott Crump, the inside of Gerald Campbell here.
Oh boy, big wiggle there from Gerald Campbell.
Gonna be excited to get a verdict from somebody else here. He didn't get wrecked and has a recently negatively biased view of the racing.
Oh, Dustin Dewar.
They're 4 wide, 5 wide down the back straightaway. Dewar and Mikolajczyk sliding back.
Contact between two. They go. They didn't. Oh, that's gonna be a huge hit.
Campbell, Rex, Dewar, Pecumer, Hosack. Brent Jones we're going to have to go on board with Brent Jones once again.
Easy. Drive him first if you need to.
Yeah, that's what Gavin Hibbs was, I think, referencing. At some point, you just have to cut your losses.
There were a lot of. I understand they were all trying to get around the. I've already forgotten who stacked them up there. Dustin Dewar. But you gotta have a little bit of patience and spatial awareness here instead of sticking it 17 wide around him. We'll see what kind of actually causes the incident. But even just there's no reason to be 6 wide in that situation. And then now you're trying to all funnel in like it's the end of the start straight at a Supercross race. And that car low, Gerald. That's about as straightforward as that one gets. I mean, Justin is there. You were not clear.
Not impactfully enough to change the lane of the 31 car.
I don't think that's what caused that. I think Gerald Campbell decided he was going to turn to the bottom of the track, and there was a car there. I could be wrong because there was contact, but I feel like there was enough time between the contact that it shouldn't have caused that. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Gerald is ultimately going to get ruled at fault for this, I believe, but there was a lot of boneheaded stuff going on here.
Yeah, there's a little patience wouldn't have hurt a lot of people there.
I think Gerald might have reacted to Crump.
Yeah.
Even then, like, just hold your lane.
Just
Drive to the
lane.
corner in the middle there. You'll be okay. Can we go on board, Dave, with Brent Jones through this one real quick?
Asking if I'm doing it.
Okay, well,
No, I'm just kidding.
no.
I'll find it.
I'll tell Brent after. Brent wants the TV time. I know. Brent will take it.
There you
Any
go,
chance
Brent.
any chance we can get to show off these beautifully painted cars for Brent Jones? I mean, just come up and slam the wall right in front of him. Brent goes ahead and bounces it off the wall, but that's a lot better than piling into the wreck.
No, 100%. And now he's doing the old dance you do when you run into somebody in the hallway. There we go.
Oh,
Are you going this way? No, I'm going this way.
Car's damaged, but I'm sure it was fixable.
Oh, yeah. We're 8 cautions in after just 104 laps. I did not have that on my bingo card for this race. I'm going to be real with you, David.
I mean, you asked me before the race how long I thought it was going to be. I think I undershot it, and I was an hour ahead of you guys for my estimate. So we're getting up there in length thus far. I mean, we still have quite a few laps to go here.
I've never understood the phrase girl math, but I feel like that was just the case there by you citing the time zone difference and how that would impact your estimation of how long this race would take. I don't think the time zone difference has a factor whatsoever on the length of this race.
I just said 3 hours, but
yeah,
I think I'm going to undershoot it.
Yeah. I don't know. Whatever. My head hurts.
Great night for a caution fest, eh?
Yeah, buddy.
Ethan Stanley, the race leader, Jonathan Cutlip fighting for a championship here tonight in second. Into the restart zone. Great restart by Stanley. No tally issued.
Sure.
I guess that's fine, yeah, because, 8 wide going into turn 3 is never going to work.
No. Oh, hey, Gerald. Bye, Gerald. Ooh, there might have been some contact there with Tate Lytle and Daniel Gore. I'm not sure.
Gore
Now
down.
they're 3 wide, so that's fine.
Weeks to the inside of Gore. He'll clear up in front of Daniel Gore. Now Hogan slices to the bottom. Rolls as the car up top around Daniel Gore. This 3-wide battle continues down the back straightaway.
Oh, that's tight.
Little contact. Gable shoves Score through the middle. Here comes Ryan Gable working back towards the lead. He's 3 wide middle now. Weeks to the outside of Blake Reynolds, just in front of this group. Jonathan Cutlip's under fire now as well from Tyler Fode. So Weeks and Fode, the cars with the freshest tires, really moving forward. Weeks pitted a couple of cautions ago. He's starting to move forward. Into 5th goes Matthew Weeks in pursuit of his 3rd Belly Up Sports Cup Series championship. This battle's not done yet. Seth Rawls still falling back a little bit. Scott Crump able to get clear of him. Rewind around Chad Frankenfield, Ray Bracey, Ethan Burrell, Michael Goodman, Jaden Racimus in this battle.
I feel like Jaden Racimus has been around just about everything without being involved in any of it.
Yeah, there's a little right front damage on that one car, but it's got to be minimal. He's running 12th, and he's right up to speed with everybody else.
Only 2
We've got a
rookies.
lot of TV time on that Caterpillar car, and good to see you having a nice little run here.
Yep, definitely a good night thus far, even in spite of that slight bit of damage. Came from one of these wrecks. There's all kinds of battles on the racetrack still. Garrison Hogan, Scott Crump fighting it out. Crump takes over the 9th spot from the pole sitter Garrison Hogan. Matthew Weeks to the inside of Tate Lytle. That's a battle for 4th. Matthew Weeks has fresher tires than Tate Lytle. And he will get the spot. And that battle continues. Lytle inside, Weeks outside, Reynolds also outside. Blake Reynolds looking to try and make up some more ground, pushing Tate Lytle down the front straightaway. Ryan Gable, though, is going to go after these guys, and he's been using that high line again.
If at first you don't succeed.
Got loose and got a wreck. Doesn't seem to matter. Ryan Gable's going to run that outside lane until the car won't let him anymore.
Or he picks up his second tally.
That could be sooner than later. Ryan Gable, though, he's been aggressive, and it's aggressive is fast in this next gen car.
It sure is. I will say Tate Lytle may or may not have employed my favorite passive-aggressive move at one of these tracks. You talked about how much you love cutting the apron. There's nothing I love more than just annoying the guy to my outside by not taking the apron.
Right.
You're going to pin me down into corners, but by golly, I'm not going to let you pin me down into tri-oval.
Yep. You don't have to go down there. You don't have to go down there. It is completely voluntary. If you want to, you can, but you are not required to. And that's been a point of consternation among our various series. Drivers have made contact over, well, I thought he was going to go down below. Well, you didn't have to. You didn't have to change his lane for you. You might always run down to that white line or down below that white line, but be cognizant of the drivers around you.
Of course, I should be fair to say that's, I was speaking in the general if you're going to pin me down into corners, I'm going to take my line on the tri-oval. Let's be clear, Ryan Gable hasn't pinned anybody down into corners tonight.
No. He's given lots and lots of room to the inside running race.
All of the room. You get 7 lanes underneath him. Choose one.
Now, bump drafting his teammate Tate Lytle. Looked like it forced Gable to lift a little more than he wanted to, though. In front, here comes Matthew Weeks, charging around the outside of Jonathan Cutlip. Matthew Weeks into 3rd. Here comes Ryan Gable.
Oh, now this is weird. He went left.
Did he know you were allowed to do that? Maybe that's a new thing. Patch notes for the 01 car.
Oh, but he got loose!
That's the first time it's run any other lanes.
The car was very confused.
Scott Crump's going to bypass all of them. 2 of his teammates and Blake Reynolds. Oh, maybe not. Here comes Tate Lytle back to the outside of the 90.
Tate is probably singing "I Hate Everything About You" to Ryan in the team Discord now.
Yep, those guys racing hard. They're racing real hard. I'm sure there's been some. Hey, what are you doing? What's going on?
Hey, buddy. With friends like that, who needs enemies?
God, Crump now loses the spot back to Gable. He'll also lose a spot to Blake Reynolds on corner entry here, though. Reynolds backs out of it. Down to 8th goes Blake Reynolds, but that car is on older tires than these cars around him, so I envision this as a calculated maneuver for the 66 car. Though, to be this much slower than Jonathan Cutlip on the same strategy, Cutlip's almost a second up the road.
Yeah.
It doesn't bode well for the later stages of the race, because this is effectively a long run for both Reynolds and Cutlip, with a few breaks in between, of course. You can see the gap. Reynolds now back fighting underneath Gable and Crump. Tyler Fode's starting to eat into Ethan Stanley's lead. So is Matthew Weeks. This battle is the best battle on the racetrack. We'll stay there. It's between Scott Crump and Blake Reynolds for the 7th position. Garrison Hogan working his way into the mix, as is Justin Vandermarl, who got involved in that wreck a little bit ago, but didn't seem to have very much damage. And this 84 cars or 54 cars right back in the mix. More fresh tires. He's moving forward again.
Now I am starting to wonder, and obviously we've had a few caution laps in that span, but for those guys who are getting up there into the run, who are on those older tires, what are we looking at fuel-wise for them?
My hunch would be that this is about a 70,
That sounds
70
right,
to 80
right?
lapper. But then you have to factor in that they had roughly 4 caution flags, and so
For sure.
10, 12 of those laps under caution.
I'm just
So-
wondering if we might be closing in, probably not immediately, but sooner rather than later on some green flag pit stops if they don't get that caution we've come to expect at this point in the run. And that could be a huge game changer for those guys.
I'm thinking 20, 25 more laps for them.
Yep.
Up there, but I mean, that's very possible the way this race is kind of sorted out. We've had a lot of that aggression early in the run. Now we've finally kind of gotten to a point where this race can stretch out and go green a little bit, but we're still seeing guys run close together, passes get made, different lanes getting used. Vandermarl and Gable fighting it out for 8th spot. Just behind Scott Crump and Blake Reynolds, but they are about a second behind Tate Lytle, who's kind of caught the front 4. You can see they've kind of formed little packs where they're racing hard. Up front, Tyler Fode's starting to get to that point where he can get underneath Ethan Stanley, but he's not able to make a pass yet. He's kind of running the opposite of whatever Stanley does, basically, is what's happening. And I just don't know that we could do that earlier in the season. I think you had to kind of run the draft. Here comes Fode to the inside. Stanley cuts him off the outside lane, able to make the run. But typically in turn 1, Tyler Fode's been using the outside line. He sees Stanley's going up top, drops to the bottom, able to change his lane, run where he needs to get clean air on the nose of the 40 car.
And that's where it can get tricky, although, to your point, Ethan Stanley has been pretty consistent. But when you're that second car, you're trying to do the game of, I just want to run the lane that he doesn't run. It turns
Caution.
into a, never mind, we're going to have a caution. Never mind my rock, paper, scissors reference.
Again, we're not allowed to make points, actually.
No, no, absolutely not. Oh, hi, Carlos.
Carlos Acosta, the car around. We were doing so well.
I'll tell you what. Obviously, Carlos is going to be the car who gets out of shape there. But it almost looked like Kurt Gibson almost got a piece of the wall. I wonder if Carlos didn't fall into the trap that you sometimes fall into late in a run, where you're trying so hard to follow a guy. Kurt gets into the gas a little early, so you get in the gas a little early. The next thing you know, Kurt's almost in the wall. And you find, oh wait, I'm also almost in the wall. That's what that looks like to me.
A little bit of that, yeah, for sure. Definitely
And
saw.
it just happened that Carlos's car was the one that snapped loose.
Right. He will get the tally for it. So why don't we go to a full screen set of commercials here and join back for the restart.
Tickets for the 2026 Season of Speed at Worldwide Technology Raceway are on sale now. The Bommarito Automotive Group 500 and Celebration of 66 Festival, June 6th and 7th. The NASCAR Cup Series Enjoy Illinois 300, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and Confluence Music Festival, September 11th through 13th. And the NHRA Napa Auto Parts Midwest Nationals, October 2nd through 4th. Save big by going to WWTRaceway.com.
Now let's hear about Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pick group. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Best Friends Animal Society 400. Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fode, the race leaders after pit stops. Green flag is back out. Ethan Stanley with an excellent jump. Matthew Weeks to the inside of Tyler Fode. Scott Crump in line with Weeks. Jonathan Cutlip up top alongside Tyler Fode. Or in line with Tyler Fode. Side by side for second while Stanley drives away in the clean air.
All that talk we were doing on that green flag run about the different strategies, whether the guys on older tires were going to have to pit pretty soon, we can throw that away now. Everybody's all level playing field all over again, and we've got a caution.
Dusty Dewar through the grass. I want to note
Now, that cone didn't do anything to you, Dusty. Now, where is... Hello? That would be... Yes. Yeah, that's the grass. That's not the preferred racing line through that part of the racetrack. I have questions.
That looks like a...
I bailed because of a technological issue, but unfortunately...
Brent Jones, a piece.
Yeah.
Blake Reynolds pitted and fixed some damage and got extremely lucky that he was able to miss this one.
Yeah, I feel like something had to have gone awry on the technical side for Mark. Incredibly unfortunate.
Or was Mark Rebelus just not happy with Brent Jones and Dusty Dewar and Dusty's second? Oh, there you go. Mark's connection has dropped. So we have to follow with that.
No, I don't think that was it. If that was it, he has really bad aim. But no, I don't think that was the case.
It's a tough break for all involved. Blake Reynolds had fallen back there due to pitting to fix some of that damage, I think, from being involved in the earlier wreck.
Screen
Yep, there it
froze
is.
from the YouTube chat.
You sure, Mark? You sure it wasn't revenge against some of your competitors? It was definitely a screen freeze. But yep, I'm quite fortunate to avoid Blake Reynolds and all that. Reynolds back in 22nd after holding in the pit stall to fix the damage, I'm assuming from that wall contact in the earlier wreck, but having to make your way back up to the top 5 while your championship contenders already run there puts him behind the 8 ball yet again, and that's going to continue to make his fight to defend this championship all the more difficult.
I can commiserate with Mark. That happened to me on Monday night. I was running a modified race at IRP. I was coming out of turn 2. Everything looked great. And then the screen froze. And then the next thing I saw, I was heading Nerf bar first towards the inside wall on the backstretch. I don't know how much modified racing you've done, David, but when you hit the really solid concrete walls with the exposed wheels, the car doesn't like that at all.
I haven't done a ton, but I can imagine. You go tumbling.
I fortunately did not go tumbling, but it did pretty much mean the end of my race. So 0 out of 10, don't recommend.
That is aptly put, I think, and aptly put for the result of Mark Rebelas's race this evening, as he not only picks up damage, also a tally, and he ends up leaving the session. So just a tough wreck all around for Rebelas in this one. We will restart here after our 10th yellow flag of the race. And we're just now approaching halfway, so hoping we can cut that number down here in the second half. Ethan Stanley will lead us back to the restart zone. Alongside him will be Tyler Fode, Matthew Weeks, and Scott Crump alongside in row 2. Stanley with the good jump. The 3 Lake Norman Chevy is going to try to line up on this outside line and get back around Matthew Weeks, but to no avail thus far. Stanley and Weeks charge off into turn 2 with first and second. Fode trying to stay to the outside of that 11 car.
I'm sure a lot of these guys up front would love to just see a green flag run breakout here.
Especially Ethan Stanley after this restart, a giant jump on the field to get into that clean air. And even with this oval refresh, that clean air is still very clearly king. It's real difficult to make passes. Oh, Bojo got a piece of the wall. Coming out of 2.
Well, that's almost 3 wide with Cutlip.
Lytle clears up in front of Vandermarl. Cutlip now on the bottom of the racetrack, kind of in a treacherous spot as Matthew Weeks drives away in P2. Cutlip got his teammate up to the outside lane, trying to work his way clear of this traffic, get back into the rhythm. He may finally do so here in P6.
Oh my goodness, so close there between Matthew Weeks and Tyler Fode.
Close racing, no love lost between these two over the years. Tyler Fode's final race as a full-time driver in this series. The winningest driver in this series will quit racing for the championship after this one, and he'll go into each season looking to race with looking to win some of the Crown Jewel events. That'll be his target going forward. Certainly wants to go out on top with a win here tonight. Ryan Gable back in 7th. He's had quite the night. Justin Vandermarl and Gable have both gone up front and led some laps in this race. They're currently 7th and 8th. Ethan Burrell's had an eventful night. He's been involved in several incidents. He's back up here in 9th. Seth Rawls is up to 10th. The South Shore duo of Gore and Bracey sit in 11th and 12th here. Chad Frankenfield just behind them working on Ray Bracey.
Looks like Frankenfield's got to be able to get around Bracey here.
Got to shout out the Bojo Jangles car there.
I started I guess an early New Year's resolution of sorts. I've started trying to learn some French on Duolingo. I haven't run across that word yet.
I love it. I think he switched it around. Now it's just Bojo. But
yes,
with
it was
the
definitely a
Louisiana
longer
chicken.
version
Yep.
at one point. Yes.
Yep.
You can read these letters a lot better because there's fewer of them. I struggle with the reading and the mathing, so I appreciate it.
Man, you had to get told no reading or math today.
Look, it's holiday. We're out for the holidays at the end of the semester. I'm done doing schoolwork.
Battle for third. Tate Lytle, Scott Crump right up behind Tyler Fode. Fode's been locked in behind Matthew Weeks since the start of the restart here. Now Tate Lytle's going to work the bottom of the racetrack, get around Scott Crump, try to get up there and pursue Tate Lytle, or Matthew Weeks rather. Not going to get it done. Lytle falls back. Crump now Cutlip going to start challenging the 56 car. Championship 4 progress break. Blake Reynolds is up to 16th. But he is not climbing through the field quite as quickly as some of these other guys have. Oh, Tate Lytle and Scott Crump got hooked together. A little bit of net code. The 90 car sideways. Saves it. Tires won't be very happy with him.
No, they won't like that at all. At least at first glance, I mean, on replay we might see it differently, but it sure did look like netcode at that first look.
That's what I saw. Those cars hooked together kind of unnaturally.
Very odd. Did not see that coming at that point.
It was the entry of that corner, Dave. Right there.
Tate does come up a little bit, but we'll see if he came up that much.
There we go. Right.
Oh no, that's contact.
That's pure contact. Yeah. A little bit of a misjudgment.
Yep, we had that one all wrong.
The way it looked and the way the car reacted seemed very netcody. You know, it's worth noting that iRacing in this oval refresh update did note they were trying to improve netcode style contact. So we haven't seen it. I didn't see any yesterday. There were 4 incident points in the entire race yesterday, and then I haven't really seen any netcode tonight. The contact's been mostly as expected.
I had one of the worst ones I've ever seen on Saturday, so I hope it is indeed improving.
Yeah, it's Tuesday would have been the build day, so we'll see. I'm on the lookout for it, but I haven't seen any yet. We'll see if that continues to shape up. Netcode for the uninitiated is the kind of predictive contact that we utilize to race online. The cars, the game expects you to be in a certain spot, so it initiates contact, and that physics model takes over. But iRacing has supposedly tried to fix that and make it so that the cars have to actually touch in order for that to kick off.
And in iRacing's defense, I mean, everybody's like, oh, they need to just fix it. You'll never get rid of it 100% because it's impossible, especially with the different standards of internet connections. And when you're racing with people anywhere around the world, I mean, you could be racing some dude in Australia, some dude in England, some dude in Germany. It's never going away. What you hope for is that those tolerances shrink and that the margins of error shrink. And that's what iRacing is trying to improve. It will never go away, no matter how many people complain on the forums. That's just, I mean, we're old enough, David. We remember, online racing on the consoles in like the mid 2000s when you'd be racing on some dude on dial-up and his car wouldn't even be on the racetrack anymore. It'd just be hopping around, existing somewhere in front of you. We've come so far in this technology. But yes, hopefully we will see some improvement there.
Yeah, and you're right. I think we would be remiss to be upset by what we do have, which is pretty good at the moment, but there can be some of those incidents that are frustrating. Here's a battle that Blake Reynolds is just in front of. He has cleared this group. Daniel Gore is currently in 13th, Garrison Hogan 14th, Corey Abbott 15th, Ray Bracey 16th, Chad Frankenfield sits in 17th. That's this group of cars. Jaden Rosimus, Michael Goodman sitting just behind. Trying to make ground up, but Blake Reynolds up to 12th in his pursuit to move back forward. And as we've said, there's been some good racing today and no netcode contact. So, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that continues. Biggest movers at the race. Burrell, currently the highest one of those. Ethan Stanley's also gained a significant number. Yeah, but Harrison Talon, haven't shouted him out yet, but he's 21st on the grid right now. Running well.
He had a good run. Was it on Monday night or Sunday night?
Wasn't privy to either.
No, fair enough. He's had top 10 this week.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for Harry. Unfortunately, though, the one thing I did see that it wasn't enough to lock him into the Truck Series season opener at Daytona. They take the top 25 returning drivers. Harrison was 26th in points.
In the Truck Series.
I believe that was his exact response, was, "It's rigged."
No, there's no way he said that. He's never said that in his life.
Tyler Fody got to the inside of Matthew Weeks, unable to make the pass. Lytle jumped to the inside of the 40 car. That's where we stand. Lytle to the inside, Fody to the outside. Here comes Jonathan Cutlip working the outside lane. 3 wide. Cutlip almost bounces it off the wall, but Jonathan Cutlip finding some pace here in the middle part of the run. He rockets past the 2 Lake Norman Chevys up to the outside lane again, challenging Matthew Weeks for the championship lead. Weeks gets this 5 car off the wall ever so slightly. Wow.
Oh, that was Days of Thunder for a second.
That looked a lot like what happened last season.
Oh, man.
Jonathan Cutlip running for the championship, leading that championship race, and Blake Reynolds came up right in front of him, and he got a piece of the wall and wrecked it. That time, Jonathan Cutlip able to hang on and remain 3rd place right behind Matthew Weeks to challenge for this championship. Slider, Chad Frankenfield is around. No yellow. All right. Well, we talked about him.
We did.
We had to go and open our big mouths.
We sure did do that. I'll tell you what. That's a tough one.
Right, because Harrison doesn't have to run the... We've already discussed it.
We've had this conversation. Harrison doesn't have to run the bottom. And he ends up on the bottom, but I can't tell if that's...
He's on the white line.
He's on the white line, and then he tries to... When he sees Chad is continuing to turn down, that's when he starts going to the apron. But at that point... Yeah, that's a tough one. Because I don't think Chad probably got the call until right about there. There is a tiny bit of netcode there as well.
There was going to be contact, though, but... So
Harris has got to say, you ran me down. Chad's got to say, well, you just drove straight into my left rear. Neither of them are going to be thrilled. Wait, what is this?
I think we're in slow-mo.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Stanley is still leading. The battle is for second between the 2 championship contenders racing for the lead in that championship race. Jonathan Cutlip to the inside of Matthew Weeks. Seems like the 5 is saved tire just a little bit better than Weeks. Matthew Weeks has that track position in that clean air, and right now that's going to be the major benefit. It's going to take a kind of a surprise move, I think, for Jonathan Cutlip to be able to get around this 11 car at this stage of the run. That or these two run up on Ethan Stanley, and then Cutlip uses the 91 car as a pick and goes around Weeks, because they are definitely gaining on him. This is going to be a big run for Cutlip right here. Outside lane to the bottom, all the way to the grass. He's inside of Matthew Weeks here, upside draft, down into turn one. Here comes Jonathan Cutlip fighting for the championship lead.
Yeah, I think Cutlip he's going to have to try to make that move work, because Weeks has been pretty consistent on running that defensive line that's not quite the top, but it's like one lane from the top, so that there's just really not enough room for Cutlip to try and squeeze by on the outside.
Cutlip unable to make that pass. He'll end up behind Matthew Weeks. They gain again on Ethan Stanley, now within 0.4 of a second. It's the closest anyone's been since the restart to the 91 car. Stanley starting to come back to the field a little bit. It's Weeks, then Cutlip, Tyler Fody in fourth. Ryan Gable has ascended to fifth. Ethan Burrell's car is starting to come to life as well. He's up to seventh in behind Tate Lytle. There is time for Jonathan Cutlip to get this pass done. There's still over 100 laps to go in this race.
Well, I'll tell you also in this top 5, the fastest car is the 40 car.
Yep, and Tyler Fody's real strong at this point in the run, right? It typically is when he really starts to come to life, is when you've got those old slick tires. That 40 car really starts to get going, and he's fell back a little. I think that move by Cutlip surprised him, because he wasn't starting to press or starting to move forward at that point. All of a sudden now he's back an extra spot, because he was right behind Weeks before that move. Now he's going to be, I think, kind of stuck. But theoretically, if these guys keep running the top, Fody might just be able to sneak by on the bottom of the racetrack.
I'm sure that's what he's hoping for, at the very least.
Look at that, all three of them in front of him running the top. Fody down to the bottom lane, and Stanley's the slowest of the three of them.
The one thing that's got to complicate that for Fody is that, especially if they stay that close on the top side, he's not going to be able to, like, say, clear Cutlip and then ride in the top a lap or two and then set up the next pass. He's got to pretty much have to get all three or none of them, and that's going to be not easy.
No, it will not. These are three of the best. Ethan Stanley, Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip, then Tyler Fody. Ryan Gable's rocketing towards the front right now. That's another one of the cars that's really quite quick. Stanley's car starting to give up a little bit. The big lead he had is gone, and now it's a 5-car race for the race lead.
We are approaching. Is that Gerald That is Gerald Campbell.
It's two-time Belly Up Sports Cup Series champion Gerald Campbell, but that car is wounded. Little piece of the wall by Jonathan Cutlip there, but it did not slow him down in the slightest.
In Gerald.
This evening, he certainly has.
What did the Eagle get named this year?
I don't know. It wasn't talked about.
We remembered Donald very well last year, but it got a different name this season, and we have. It was not nearly as memorable.
It's lost to time.
Aller.
It was something like that. Yeah.
Didn't make.
It was definitely supposed to be more menacing.
Well, it's harder for us to remember not a name, I would say.
Yeah. I would agree with that as well. We'll work that during the off-season marketing seminars. Easy for me to say. Closing out on the end of stage 2, by the way.
Oh, there's a stage 2 in this race?
There sure is.
That?
How about
that?
It's about to end right here. Yep.
There it is.
Right here. There's a battle right behind that big black box. There we go.
Ethan Stanley trying to take stage 2. He will do so. Matthew Weeks second. Cutlip third. Fody fourth. Ryan Gable fifth. Recall, it's just top finisher of our championship 4. And really, it's our championship 3 at this point. Justin Wadsworth wadded up in a crash early in the race. He will not be able to win his second title. It will be down to these 3. Matthew Weeks hunting his third. Jonathan Cutlip hunting his first Belly Up Sports Cup Series championship, and Blake Reynolds, who's running 9th and trying to catch up to these two. Oh, Burrell sideways.
Burrell.
Had a moment. Reynolds trying to go back-to-back and win his second. Ethan Stanley, I mean, he fell right back to these guys, and now he's starting to open the lead back up again.
He's starting to open it back up, and they're starting to accordion a little bit more behind Matthew Weeks. You see Ryan Gable catching up. Obviously, Ethan Burrell was catching that pack before he had his moment off turn 4 last time by.
It's just Seth Rawls heading down pit road. Yeah, these guys, this probably gets you close. I was going to ask you if we couldn't get the run graph and see where we are in the run here as we kind of approach the need for green flag stops. There we go, 41 laps. I think we've got about 20 or 30 more laps before these guys start to think about pit road at the front of the field. Michael Goodman off track, coming back up now. Rawls and Brent Jones both hit. Ethan Stanley just slide out of the lead. Stanley's on the apron. Matthew Weeks to the control of the race. Ethan Stanley with a big moment off turn 2. He'll fall all the way back into the deepest parts of the top 10 here.
Yeah, he's almost out of the top 10 entirely. We'll take a look here on the Rebellis Photography replay machine.
I think it was he crossed the seams.
Yeah, just gets loose.
My goodness.
Yeah. Gathers it back up, but loses the lead and a lot of track position as well.
Yet another near incident right in front of Jonathan Cutlip. He was second behind Matthew Weeks, but those incidents have nearly collected the 5 car quite a few times tonight.
And then just when we were talking about Ethan Stanley was starting to pull away, now one of your championship Ford drivers, Matthew Weeks, leading the way.
Man, Tyler Fode gets by Jonathan Cutlip for the second position, so move Fode up another spot. And that, you mentioned that car was really starting to come to life earlier. Well, now I think the fastest car of this group, it might be Blake Reynolds in 7th. 31.3 last time by. Weeks 31.4, Fode 31.4, Cutlip 31.5.
Yep.
Ryan Gable was in 31.4s as well.
I will say we have grown used to seeing, especially with, and we've talked about so much tonight, especially with Ryan Gable's proclivity. I think that's the word I want to use for running the high side. Tate Lytle to pit road?
Tate Lytle to pit road.
Interesting.
I don't think you can get to the end. I mean, maybe you can get to the end from here, but this feels like I'm not going to win, might as well try to undercut and see what happens kind of a move from Tate Lytle.
But what I was going to say was we're used to Ryan Gable, quite frankly, burning up his tires running the high side, and I wonder if maybe one of the side effects is that there's a little more shelf life on running that line, which I'm sure Ryan would love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the high line being a viable line is important for the health of racing on this service. I think you need to be able to do multiple lanes. So you look at the real life, 1.5-mile tracks, the outside lane is the preferred lane. It's straight up. It's just better. It runs better with this car. You're able to set that right rear, up on the wall and run it. That car tends to build tight in real life. So those guys, if they need to go up top and run it, they're tight up there. But then if you need to go down to the bottom and make the pass, you side draft, pull them back, dive into the corner. It enables passing. It enables a lot of the stuff that has made that 1.5-mile racing better in real life. We're looking at this trial this week. A lot of the stuff they mentioned the next gen either today or yesterday, and a lot of the comments were, oh, the racing's better. And I think that this type of racing is what the next gen has been good at, and iRacing has simply not been good enough at displaying this kind of racing, maybe up until today.
here comes the slider. Not quite.
Not enough. And that's what the outside line is supposed to do, right? It's
Yep.
supposed to keep you in a good spot. But look at what happened. Weeks and Fody both got tight, both side drafting. Jonathan Cutlip right up to the back bumper. They are slowing each other down. This is going to open the door for Blake Reynolds. He is closing in on this group in a hurry. Oh, Cutlip a little bit loose on the outside.
Yeah, you could see it. You could see that car skew to the left there. He kept it under control.
Tyler Fody trying to continue to run that bottom lane, come up and side draft this 11 car and bring it back. Not working yet. 40 car still remains in behind Matthew Weeks. And remember last year in the finale, Tyler Fody was in the finale trying to win a championship. Matthew Weeks was not. They made contact late in the race. And then Matthew Weeks went on to win the race. Reversed scenario this season. Tyler Fody looking to end his full-time career in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series with a race win. Matthew Weeks trying to win a championship. And you know, drivers have memories like elephants. They'll remember.
No.
Tyler Fody definitely remembers the end of last season's race. I brought it up a lot with Jonathan Cutlip in the interview process going towards this this championship run where that 5 car was going to be involved, and Jonathan Cutlip's very much let all that go. I don't believe this 40 car has.
Well, another thing to keep in mind too, you mentioned a couple of times, Tyler Fody planning on scaling back next season. The biggest milestone he wanted to hit this season, as we see this battle for the lead shape up once again, was 100 wins across all of Elite's series, and he did hit that mark this season. If he were to win tonight, that would give him 25 Belly Up Sports Cup Series wins. That'd be another big milestone to go out on if he's able to pick up the win tonight.
Yeah, good, nice round number. And he's not done chasing Belly Up Sports Cup Series wins. They'll just be in the form of those crown jewel events. There he goes, down to the bottom underneath Matthew Weeks. Tyler Fody does clear for the race lead. Oh, a little loose. Here comes Jonathan Cutlip up to the outside lane, going to try to shove Fody by Matthew Weeks. And again, look at Blake Reynolds. Look how close he is now. He's within a second of these guys. Reynolds to the inside. After the start of the night for this 66 car, he's challenging for the race lead and the championship lead. Here comes Cutlip to the outside of Fody.
Blake's got to be careful here.
3 wide, Reynolds to the inside, trying to get underneath Matthew
Be
Weeks.
careful.
Reynolds ain't here. Jonathan Cutlip around the outside to the race lead. Fody through to second. Here comes Reynolds for third. Matthew Weeks from first to third in the championship fight in 2 corners. He's coming to pit road.
All right, another wrinkle. If there's somebody who's going to make the overcut work out of these 3, it's going to be this driver right here, but we'll see if this is the ticket.
Weeks did not speed on pit road. Wanted to double check that. Corey Abbott also heading down pit road this time. Jonathan Cutlip to the lead. And if I'm Jonathan Cutlip and Blake Reynolds, I am loving Matthew Weeks heading to pit road right here. You stay out maybe as long as possible. Ryan Gable heads down pit road. He'll join. Oh, man, that might be a speeding penalty for the 0-1. Not seeing a black flag. Looks like he's okay.
All right.
Can these guys make it to the end? We're within.
Maybe.
And we're around 80 laps to go, 83 laps to go. I mean, it's on the border. That's a long way to go on tires, man.
It is.
I'd probably at least get this run to 60 so the next run can get to 80. But it's an early pit stop for Matthew Weeks. He's going to need, I think, a break in order to turn this around into a positive result.
certainly these other two championship contenders feel like it's too early, because if they didn't think that, if they thought it was viable, they would have covered it.
Right.
They would have followed in the next lap or two to pit road to keep him from undercutting them.
Right, and they are in call together. I think they know that Weeks has gone down pit road. I mean, there's a lot of information being shared between pretty much all of our championship 4 contenders. That's a whole group of them there. Kurt Gibson down pit road. Tyler Fode got a nice run, but Blake Reynolds got a better one, and they have really closed up on Jonathan Cutlip here. They're going to be 3 wide here in turn 1. Reynolds to the inside of Tyler Fode for second. This is as close as he's been to the championship lead since the drop of the green flag. Reynolds to the bottom, Fode up top, Cutlip the race leader. Reynolds drifts up, unable to make the pass stick. Tyler Fode drives on, but Reynolds is still right there. This multi-groove racing has just been so... I keep describing it as better. It's just better. Reynolds able to make the pass work on the bottom, clears up in front of Tyler Fode. He is right on Jonathan Cutlip's rear bumper.
And these top 3 have completely checked out from the rest of the pack. Ethan Burrell is more than 4 seconds back.
Reynolds to the inside, looking for the race lead on the front straightaway. He led that lap. Blake Reynolds has arrived here with under 100 laps to go. Down to the bottom of the racetrack he goes. Blake Reynolds will get the lead at Chicago in the Best Friends Animal Society 400. He led every lap last week. We talked to him before the race. He said, I'd love to lead every lap this week. And then he spent the first near 200 laps of this race nowhere near the front. Lap 189, he finally takes the top spot. Could that be the race-winning move right there? Reynolds in front of Jonathan Cutlip. Cutlip going to try to reel him back in. Justin Vandermeer down pit road.
Yep.
Cutlip just got a big piece of the wall in turn 2. That 5 car is pushing hard. He's really trying to keep Blake Reynolds within striking distance by the time they get to pit stops, because I think the 5 is significantly faster in the early part of the run. But if you lose too much time to Blake Reynolds in this later part of the run, you won't be able to catch back up to him. Racy on pit road. There was also an incident between Ryan Gable and Justin Vandermarl at some point. Vandermarl is still sitting on pit road with damage on the right front tire of that 54 car. Blake Reynolds drives away from Jonathan Cutlip. All of a sudden, Zach, I mean, this race has gone into a green flag stint with, it looks like it could go green to the end. And I mean, Tyler Fode heads down pit road. The way this is shaping up, Matthew Weeks on that overcut could be pretty far ahead, but I just think...
I was actually just looking at the lap times. I don't know if he's in traffic or what the situation is. Matthew Weeks is honestly not going any faster than our leaders. In fact, last time by, he was slower.
Wow.
Well, and now here you see Blake Reynolds coming to pit road, as does Jonathan Cutlip. So they're in the window in their eyes.
Yep, here they come down pit road. Weeks got out behind Ryan Gable, behind Stanley, behind Lytle. He'll be in front of Tyler Fode, so he gained some time.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it all shakes out, but I don't think the undercut's going to
work that well.
Produce a massive advantage. We'll see.
Daniel Gore to the race lead. He'll head down pit road after leading that last time by. He'll turn the lead over to Ethan Burrell. under a green flag cycle of pit stops. Race off pit road. Jonathan Cutlip is in front of Blake Reynolds. You can see him there on the bottom of your screen.
But the gap is larger than I expected.
Yeah, and they are somehow way in front. Well, actually, they're going to be behind Tate Lytle by about half a straightaway. Trey Holmes down pit road. Bodie's right on the bumper of Blake Reynolds here as well.
Who just blinked?
Yeah, who's out of the race? Trey Holmes heads out of it. Okay.
A voluntary, yes.
Down pit road comes Carlos Acosta. I believe Ethan Burrell is pitting this time by.
Box. Yeah, back it up. Back it up. Put it in reverse. There you go.
This is going to turn the lead over to Tate Lytle, with Ethan Stanley in second, Ryan Gable third, then Matthew Weeks, then Paul Mikolajczyk, and Jonathan Cutlip. That'll be the running order as Burrell gets bypassed here. Cutlip and Reynolds will have the freshest tires. Matthew Weeks will be about 3 seconds ahead for them to go run down here for this championship fight. Tate Lytle and Ethan Stanley have more significant margin. I think that's where the undercut worked quite well. Lytle, Stanley, and Gable were able to make the most out of it, I think, but Matthew Weeks is going to get caught and passed by Jonathan Cutlip in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Yep. And I don't know if he just got caught up in traffic or what exactly the issue was, but just didn't quite pay off for him, which I guess he didn't take as extreme of a undercut as Lytle and Stanley, but still.
Nope.
Just
battle between
Cutlip
and Weeks right now on the back straightaway. Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip are side by side for the 4th position, and Jonathan Cutlip will bypass Weeks here for the championship lead, and he continues to move on. He's put 3 cars between himself and Blake Reynolds now for the 2nd spot in that championship, presuming Weeks continues to fall off. This 5 car is the one, I think, right now in control of this championship fight. He's got 68 laps to make it happen. Tate Lytle the leader. Cutlip right now running, let's see what the lap times are. Cutlip's running 31 flats. Tate Lytle's running 31 threes. As is Stanley. Gables is right there as well. Blake Reynolds ran a 30.9 last time, so he's still got a little bit stronger pace, but he's going to have to work harder to get around a few of these guys to get up to Jonathan Cutlip. Stanley just went around Tate Lytle for the lead. Did Tate Lytle disconnect? Oh, Tate Lytle's loose on the grass here in turn. Tate Lytle's on the grass. Lytle has lost the race lead, got loose out of turn 4. The overcut will not work out for the 2-time, actually he might be the 3-time Belly Up Sports Cup Series champion. Tate Lytle loose off 4 and loses this race lead.
Yep. Now that was an odd one. He got loose kind of closer to the middle of the corner.
Right.
We haven't seen that as much.
Haven't seen it at all. And he almost came up in front of our championship contenders there. It's able to avoid him. Matthew Weeks is trying to hold off Blake Reynolds here. If we go back to live, they are side by side right now. It's allowing Jonathan Cutlip to scurry away a little bit. Reynolds is going to find his way by Weeks here shortly. Right now, in fact. Now nothing stands between Cutlip and Reynolds. Reynolds was able to get through the traffic. Can Jonathan Cutlip outlast Blake Reynolds here for this championship? Ethan Stanley's got the race lead. Ryan Gable is tuned that lead down to 9/10 of a second. He's going to probably be able to get the lead from Stanley before the end of the race, but I think then Jonathan Cutlip should have enough of an advantage to overtake Gable for that race lead before the end of this thing. Oh, you know what Matthew Weeks has probably had to do, Zach? He's probably had to save fuel.
Perhaps.
And that was why he wasn't able to capitalize on the undercut, because that car could not make it to the end. Remember, we noted that.
Questioning the math, right?
Yeah, that it was pretty early for Matthew Weeks. He was a couple of laps before kind of that window opened. He's probably had to save fuel on this run.
And that very well could be it. Which makes you wonder if that's the case. Is he going to... It's odd how that works sometimes. You find yourself late in a run. Magically, you have more tire than your competitors. That was just a side effect of the fuel saving.
That might be part of Matthew Weeks' idea here. He might be hoping that those guys burn their stuff off ahead of him, and he's able to bring it back to them by saving the tire here throughout the early part of this run. That might be his best shot. It's going to be a tough ask, but he certainly could pull it off.
I feel like if that was the game plan, you would have just run long to start with. It was like running along with extra steps if that was the game plan. But Matthew would know better than I would.
I think the issue was that he got bypassed by everybody there. He was kind of falling back, and
sure.
he did a kind of a snap reaction. Hey, I'm falling back. I need to come down pit road. Didn't pause to take into effect the potential outcomes of hitting pit road at that particular lap, not maybe waiting 2 or 3 laps to try and undercut those guys.
Right.
He's not really falling off of those two in front of him, though, now. It's kind of evening out. 31-1 last time. Blake Reynolds 31-2. Cutlip 31-2. Gable 31-3. Stanley 31-5. So that's where we are right now in this run. Matthew Weeks might be using the big brain, trying to conserve the tire, conserve the fuel, make it to the end, and maybe make it to the end with good speed.
Look, we can never count out Matthew Weeks in a full distance race here in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series. He's won 6 of them. 3-time Daytona 500 winner, 2-time Brickyard winner. So
he's very good at these endurance style races, and that's what he's multi-time champion. On top of that, he's gotten here multiple times and made it happen. Ethan Stanley, Ryan Gable battling for the lead up front.
I'm sorry, is it saying Tate Lytle was on pit road?
He pitted much earlier and then spun out. So
he
pitted.
Yeah.
He pitted so early there's no way he was going to make it to the end, even if he saved fuel. I would question that strategy, but I think it was a little bit of desperation on Tate Lytle's part.
Yep.
This battle for the lead remains close, but I do want to call our attention to the battle for third. It's continuing to heat up. Blake Reynolds has started to close down the gap to Jonathan Cutlip. It is now just a couple of tenths of a second. Reynolds is closing in on Cutlip, and if we recall last year, Blake Reynolds and Jonathan Cutlip kind of got into each other in turn 2 at Las Vegas, and Reynolds drove off to win the championship. Cutlip crashed. I think he ended up finishing 4th in the overall championship standings, and it's one of those things where I've asked Jonathan Cutlip a number of times, what would you do differently? How could you how are you going to approach this race? And he's been, it's going to be a normal race. We're just going to approach it completely normally. Well, as it stands, the guy that did that last season, chasing him down right now.
And speaking of chase, just in the time you were having that little statement, they've gained a half second on Ethan Stanley and Ryan Gable. This is about to be a 4-car battle for the lead, and I don't think it's going to stay a 4-car battle very long.
No, these two are going to go flying past, I believe. So I think there's an outside possibility that everybody's going to have to come down pit road. I don't know, but Ethan Burrell's just sent me a message that said he's trying to save fuel. So he's in 13th, right? But if everybody else has to pit and he's been going nice and slow, it might work out for him. He was the last car on pit road.
I was about to say, he was one of the last ones to pit. So if he is saving fuel, that raises more than a couple of eyebrows for me.
I guess we don't know the exact number, right? And then that would make Tate Lytle and some of these other guys pitting make a lot more sense. And now the fuel window would be open from here. So say Ethan Stanley can't make it, go ahead and, fire it up and head down pit road and see if you can't maybe undercut again. I mean, these guys haven't been able to catch him yet. The undercut is pretty strong. They're about to right now. But if they have to pit again, I mean, you probably want to come down pit road pretty quickly if these guys in front of you come down pit road.
I imagine if fuel is a concern, I mean, if you're one of these top two and you do lose that advantage over Cutlip and Reynolds, you're going to come to pit road pretty soon after that, I would think, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, as soon as you lose the spots, you come down pit road, just like kind of Matthew Weeks did before. That's what I would do here. So
If that
Gable
is-
loses second to Cutlip. Let's see what happens. I mean, if Gable has to pit here, that certainly opens the door to this being a fuel economy run. But I just don't know if that's what the case is here. Stanley dropped to the bottom. I mean, could he just head down pit road right here? Might be what's going on.
No, not yet at least.
He's going to end up giving this race lead over to Jonathan Cutlip. There it is. Jonathan Cutlip passes for the lead. Reynolds still mired in this traffic a little bit. Gable still trying to hang tough on the outside. And Cutlip is through this group. Cutlip's been really strong at negotiating the traffic. Reynolds a little bit less so. Now that's his teammate. Teammate got down to the bottom there. But again, what are the odds? Ethan Stanley just hits pit road right here.
Well, I know it is a teammate, but that was I'm pitting
there he
this
comes.
time move on the backstretch, and that's exactly what's happening.
Ryan Gable probably should be right behind him.
Yeah, usually when you see a giant move on the backstretch like that, that's usually your way of telegraphing to everyone behind you, no, for real, guys, I'm pitting, and that is indeed what we've seen here from Ethan Stanley.
So Ethan Stanley down pit road. Now, he and Tate Lytle were the two that pitted outside of the window, in my opinion. If Ryan Gable hits pit road, that would be, to me, the indicator that we do not have enough fuel in the tanks here to get to the end. My assumption was that they would have 70 to 80 in that range. And those guys were pitting with around 75 to go.
But if we could pull up the stint graph, how long was that previous run for those guys? There you go.
67.
So we must be a little shy of being able to get to that 70 lap mark then. Because I imagine they went pretty close to running it dry. Obviously, we can't quite get Burrell on the screen. He was the one that went the longest, but he would have been just barely into the 70 lap range, I believe.
He is in 10th now. He's on the back straightaway, and I'm trying to monitor where Tate Lytle is entering turn 1 now. Burrell's got a half a lap lead. 37 to go. I mean, stranger things have happened, Zach.
Oh, every night.
Jonathan Cutlip, the race leader. Blake Reynolds running second. That is kind of how they've been running for the majority of this run. Now a fuel economy run potential to end this race has come into question. Can these guys make it to the end on fuel? And if not, who pits first? It appears the undercut is strong. It took them multiple laps to catch Ethan Stanley. And the more laps they stay out here, the less likely to me that it is that they actually win the race. I think that this is likely Ethan Stanley's race to lose at this point, unless Ethan Burrell can make it to the end on fuel. And even then, that's a lot of track to make up for Ethan Stanley.
It is.
He is about half a lap behind Ethan Burrell. There's 34 to go. 44 to go. I can't math.
think that's 45. About
44 to go.
Yeah.
Stanley's significantly faster right now, but that's going to taper off as the tires wear. And remember, these guys are going to have to fight each other for the race win after they pit. I don't know, Zach. I think I would want to undercut, try to get some track position. It just seems like the gap isn't quite strong enough. But we'll see.
We will see. This is a thinker for sure.
You know, you look at Matthew Weeks, who undercut and then kind of backed off, saved his tires. He is just now bypassing Ryan Gable. Yellow flag.
Caution.
Never mind.
Oh, man.
So much for that.
And what a
Oh, there he is.
tough break that is for the people who had pitted.
He was trying to get on pit road.
I was about to say that looks like somebody who had thoughts of getting to pit road and it's got spin just onto the racing surface and trigger the iRacing caution. I have a feeling we're gonna have a block party on pit road here.
Yeah, everybody's going to be heading down pit road for 4 tires, fuel, and to prep for the run to the end. 11 cars on the lead lap. Ethan Stanley, Tate Lytle will have to take... Well, Stanley will get the lucky dog. Tate Lytle will take a wave around among other one lap down machines here. That green flag run really separated the field out, spread it apart. And this is going to make the final run here quite intriguing. Let's watch pit stops. Philip Reynolds, Gable, Weeks, Fody, Daniel Gore, Corey Abbott, Ray Bracey, Harrison Talon, Ethan Burrell, the top 10, Scott Crump, 11th, and those are the cars that are going to come down pit road here, Zach. Nice box for both Cutlip and Reynolds. I mean, this fight off pit road might just be the fight for the race win. It's entirely possible once you line these guys up all up in clean air, equal tires. Reynolds and Cutlip off pit road. It's going to be Blake Reynolds. Yeah, the interesting thing he did right there, right at the end of pit road.
Uh-huh.
He went up to 54 miles an hour and nudged in front of Cutlip and then dropped it back to 50.
Playing the game.
Like he's
Managed to, managed to, I would call it manipulate the old system there.
Well, I mean, you see that in real life as well.
Yeah, and the risk is there, right? You get tagged for speeding. He mentioned it in the pre-race, lost the race on Monday, speeding on pit road. Like, it's a risk, but it's also a reward because now he's in the race lead. Most everybody else came off pit road as they entered. Scott Crump gained a few spots. I think some of those other guys fixed some damage.
Now, what's going to be really tough here for some of these guys that are taking the wave around, specifically guys like Jade Racimus, Garrison Hogan, Carlos Acosta.
Those guys who haven't pitted.
The guys who haven't pitted, especially the one who just spun to bring out the caution.
I think their hope is that there's a quick yellow right here. That's their hope.
They need one, and if Michael Goodman's not careful on those angry tires, he might be the caution.
Yeah, gotta be careful with it. Goody does pick up the tally for that last incident. Don't know if we mentioned that, but it was fairly straightforward. And I mean, yeah, I think it'll be interesting. to see if those guys can get their yellow flag, because that would bring Ethan Stanley, Tate Lytle back into the event. You know, they've got a few laps in the tires. They'll probably need a caution to even things back up.
Look at all those cars single file.
Single file, a lot of wave rounds. Green flag is out. Big jump for Blake Reynolds. We've seen that not really matter a ton. Depends on how quickly Jonathan Cutlip can get through turn 2, get back to the bumper. Ryan Gable, though, he's right in the middle of this championship picture, ready to spoil the party. Here comes Cutlip to the outside of Reynolds. Reynolds tries to slam the door. He can't do it. Here comes Cutlip to the outside. Great run into turn 3 for Blake Reynolds, able to clear in front of Jonathan Cutlip and take over this race lead for sure. Down the front straightaway comes Reynolds, a lot more confidence in the 66, but here comes Jonathan Cutlip back to the outside lane. Cutlip working to the outside of Reynolds, trying to fight for this championship lead.
Oh, he's there.
Down the back straightaway, side by side, Matthew Weeks in tow, looking to see if he can't get up here and win another championship for the 11 car. Reynolds dives into turn 3, clears in front of Cutlip once again. He's strong down there on the bottom, but it's not enough. Here comes Jonathan Cutlip back to the outside lane once again. Tries to side draft this 66, pull him back. Looks like the outside is stronger in 1 and 2, bottom stronger in 3 and 4 right now.
Matthew Weeks' new fastest lap.
Reynolds in the inside, Cutlip up top. Weeks in tow, Gable behind them. It's Gore and Fody side by side in the back. At the line, Jonathan Cutlip leads the lap. We've seen the outside lane be strong today, but we have also seen guys fall back on the long run. There's, going to be a 30-lap run here to the end of the race. Do they burn their stuff up running up in that outside lane? Reynolds is pretty committed to that bottom groove, and he was real fast at the end of the race, or at the end of that long green flag run. I can't help but wonder if dedicating a little bit of this run to tire saving might be beneficial.
I think that's where Matthew Weeks is trying to play the game. Obviously, it's tough because he also has to keep clean air on the nose to do it. If he gets in that aero wash, it's just harder on that right front tire. But he's managed to find that clean air and maybe challenge for second here.
Inside of Blake Reynolds goes Matthew Weeks, trying to get that Pro Edge Toyota up to the race lead. He won't do it. Reynolds clears Matthew Weeks off. The Lake Norman Chevys are battling behind. Tyler Fody's now up into 4th.
And all it took was that brief side-by-side between Reynolds and Weeks to allow Cutlip to open up a little bit of a gap. Now that that's over, Reynolds has got to try to run him back down.
Blake Reynolds was really good down the stretch there, but now the tires are fairly equal between himself and Jonathan Cutlip, and Cutlip had been much faster on those even tires for the majority of the race before this stint. It's Cutlip, Reynolds, Weeks, the top 3. There's 3 wide back there for 6th between Gore and Burrell. And Scott Crump sorts it out. Now it's Daniel Gore for that 6th spot. Burrell challenging on the inside.
It's been up and down night for Scott Crump, but clearly lots of pace in that 90 car, getting back into the 8th position here and looking to continue to move forward.
Yep, trying to grab this spot away from Daniel Gore and Ethan Burrell. Best battle on the track right now. It is Cutlip, Weeks, and then Reynolds up in front of this. I think Matthew Weeks got around Blake Reynolds while we were looking away. This 11 car is running that top lane now, starting to make some ground up on Jonathan Cutlip. You can see it on our ticker, that time between Weeks and Cutlip going down as that 5 car continues to wrap the bottom of the racetrack, try to save the tires for the end run. I think that's the wise move. You want to be able to have those tires down the stretch, but you can't lose the track position that is the race lead. We've harped on it today, Zach, but what a hats off, I think, to iRacing. This This has been rather easily the best racing we've seen all season long. These guys have been able to make moves, slice and dice, change lanes, run different grooves, find pace across the racetrack. I am very encouraged for the 26A season.
Yeah, no. And oh, by the way, second race on that 2026A schedule. First race after Daytona. You know where it's at?
Old Atlanta? I don't know,
Chicago.
actually. Chicagoland? Okay.
We're coming back.
Coming right back. That seems to be a good thing. This has been quite the show tonight. Jonathan Cutlip, the race leader, just under 20 laps to go in this race. Just under 30 laps to go. I can count. Garrison Hogan on pit road, one of those cars that was going to need a caution, I believe, was Garrison Hogan. And there are more of those that will be heading down pit road that took the wave around that are not going to get that yellow flag, it seems. The 3 championship leaders under a blanket for the race win.
It's funny how it plays out. So not every time, but so often like that. And it's easy to make the jokes in the real world when it happens that, oh, maybe there's a finger on the scales. Not really a way to do that here on iRacing. It's just that these guys, there's a reason they're the championship contenders.
Yep. And Tyler Fody would love to do what Matthew Weeks did last season and play spoiler from that 4th spot. He would definitely like to get up here and challenge these front 3 for this race win. But these guys have been rock solid all playoffs long. They've been rock solid all season long. It doesn't always work out that way for this championship format style, but this year it has. Jonathan Cutlip, Matthew Weeks, and Blake Reynolds fighting it out for the championship is just as this season should be. Ryan Gable cleared Tyler Fody and then got loose, sliced to the bottom. They'll be side by side for that 4th spot, but Gable's still there, and now Burrell challenging Tyler Fody for that 4th position. Burrell going after those Lake Norman Chevys. Unable to do so. He did, in fact, re-message me and say he could make it if that grunt had stayed green. Challenge for the lead. It's Matthew Weeks underneath Jonathan Cutlip. That inside line just has not been the preferred groove. This side-by-side battling is going to open the door up for Blake Reynolds here.
And just to keep it in mind, I mentioned it earlier tonight, now that we're getting down to the end of the race, track temp has cooled off about 10 degrees from when we last spoke about it.
Oh, Weeks into the wall! No! Matthew Weeks cleared up in front of Jonathan Cutlip, hit the wall hard. Both he and Cutlip slide, and Blake Reynolds drives through and takes the race lead over. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Weeks' car is destroyed.
Weeks is loose.
Weeks is in the wall. And Matthew Weeks is falling back. Oh my. That handed Blake Reynolds the championship on a silver platter.
Oh my goodness.
Jonathan Cutlip is 0.6 of a second back now. Older, he was running the tires hard to try to keep those guys behind. Matthew Weeks tried to move up in front, was not clear. And into the wall he went, and now Blake Reynolds with clean air, clean racetrack around, no challengers, no one in the draft. Cutlip likely with some damage from that contact, and he's in the clutches of Ryan Gable now. My goodness. We'll have to see if we can't take a look at the replay here at some point, but we might even have to do it once the race concludes. Contact between Matthew Weeks and Jonathan Cutlip results in Blake Reynolds overtaking for the race lead. Cutlip with damage running second. Weeks falls outside the top 10 and out of contention.
Here we go. No, that was fine.
That was it. Yeah, that was good. That was good.
We're going to see Weeks go up the racetrack here. Hard to tell from that angle if he was clear. Boy.
Man.
But, yeah. But Cutlip was going to have the momentum there on the corner exit, too.
Yep. Yeah. The risk of getting sideways from a bump was imminent, and there was 30 laps to go at that point. Jonathan Cutlip. I don't think Jonathan Cutlip's car is damaged, but what is very damaged is his ability to chase down Blake Reynolds with Brian Gable and Tyler Fode hounding him here.
Right.
The contact is minimal, I think, on the right front tire, but the gap is significant, and now he's also lost the track position. And he's losing time. We're under 20 laps to go.
That time he picked up about a 10th, so he's going to have to get on his horse for sure.
Yeah, he's right around, he's keeping even with Blake Reynolds, which it's not going to get it done. You have to give more.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gable's not going to pull over. And
well, that's
why don't you just go ahead and go?
It's hard to lay down the Q laps when you're also trying to play defense. Because he's got to be under a lot of pressure from those Lake Norman cars. Wait, shoot. From a championship perspective, this is tough. Do you think those two guys behind you are fast enough to chase down Reynolds? Because if they are, do you let them pick the fight?
No. I try to keep the clean air.
You'd rather have the track position. Okay.
Yeah, I'd much rather have the track position in this case. You have to be the one to do it. The only guy I might consider would be Fode, right? Gable, no. But Fode could probably get up there and go challenge Reynolds.
See, I was thinking the other way. I was thinking you let Gable go up there and then let him get loose again and wreck it.
Well, I guess my faith in Ryan Gable.
You have more faith in Ryan than I do, yes.
Yeah, well, I have more faith in Fode than I do in Gable. That would be my note there. Gable just got a piece of the wall going into turn one, and that slowed him up a little bit.
See? I'm playing 4D chess over here, baby.
You have faith for Fode to do the right thing. He had faith that Gable might accidentally do the wrong thing.
Correct.
I just don't think there's any way Gable was getting up there. Was my issue. But Tyler Fode is very motivated. He might get up there and go challenge for this race win. He's got the time.
Here's the other thing too. We've still got. I know it sounds crazy now that we've strung out, but we've still got 20 laps in this thing. That's 20 laps for another one of those lovely self spins to bring out a caution.
Yep, certainly could happen. Hoping we're able to kind of wrap this thing up.
I guess close to 15,
night.
But you know.
Yeah, we're right at 15 now here. Reynolds ahead of Fode. Looking at the timing sheet, Tyler Fode's about a 10th quicker right now. That lap he was 7 1,000ths quicker, so not a whole lot gained.
No. And now Cutlip's under pressure from Ethan Burrell, who I feel like has been turning some of the quicker laps from this top 5.
Mm-hmm. Cutlip, I think, he and Weeks got to racing a little bit there, and that's burned the tires off of the 5 car. His best bet now is Tyler Fode getting up here and challenging Blake Reynolds. I think that's the best bet. 12 laps to go. Chad Frankenfield on pit road. We're going to see a few more of those guys that took the wave, hit pit road. Here's Jaden Racimus. Here's Carlos Acosta. It is extra positions for Matthew Weeks, who tries to continue to limp around in the 11 car there. He's about to go a lap down to our leaders. I think Weeks is mad.
Well, I sure hope not.
He might be mad, but he might be aware
Not
of the
that
bigger
kind of
picture.
mad. Yeah.
Tyler Fode's gaining on Blake Reynolds at least. Got a 31-1 last time to a 31-2. This time it's 31-1 for Fode. 31-3 for Reynolds. So the gap is starting to shrink between the 66 and the 40. I'm Blake Reynolds, though. I mean, are you fighting for the bigger picture, or are you fighting for the race?
Boy, I especially now that you see the gap that they've been able to open on Jonathan Cutlip, you've got to think big picture, right? You can't risk running side by side for even a couple of laps and giving away a second to Jonathan Cutlip.
Right. It's very possible that if they, run side by side for a lap or two, that brings Cutlip close. Weeks, he's offline, heading down the back straightaway. Probably going to take that bottom lane, let these guys sail around on the outside. Second championship 4 contender to fall by the wayside in this race will go a lap down. Reynolds kind of chose the bottom. Weeks was trying to give him the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see why there. The car just takes off up the hill. There was a reason. He wasn't trying to be difficult. It's just where that car wants to run with the damage right now.
Mm-hmm. You keep it slow, keep it low. Able to stay out of those guys' way. Here comes Cutlip around Weeks. No ill will from the 11 and the 5 after the contact. Under 10 to go. In fact, we're down to 7 to go. Tyler Fode stalking Blake Reynolds, trying to pick up Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series win number 25 from Fode. Reynolds trying to grab his 4th win of the season and pick up his 2nd consecutive Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series championship. That's what these guys are fighting for right here for the race win.
And that gap to Cutlip is almost 2 seconds at this point, which I feel like now it's almost swinging the pendulum the other way, right? By the time, if Fode is able to get there, it's got to be with 3 or 4 to go. At that point, you might as well race for the win, because I don't even think Cutlip's going to make up that gap.
Right, and you might even be able to defend Tyler Fode without ever getting side by side. That's what Blake Reynolds is trying to do right now, is change his lane, occupy the air Fode's going for. Tyler Fode's just 3/10 off, and we'll see if he can kind of break through that dirty air bubble. We've seen it all season long that guys struggle to get up there and challenge for the lead. But with this kind of refresh, you're able to kind of change your lane. Tyler Fode able to move up, try to get speed up top, move down, get speed down low wherever he needs that clean air. 5 laps to go. Let's see what Tyler Fode can do here. This time 31-2, 31-2 from both. Not much gained or lost. Seems like this is also the time in the run, right? 30 laps or so when the 66 car starts to come to life. And it's just a little bit better than everybody else. He's just able to roll the center really, really well on those older tires. 4 laps to go in the season here in 2025B. It's been the year of Blake Reynolds.
It has been.
He won the championship in our A season, won a bunch of races in the Grand National Series here in the B season, won 3 races in this season as well in the Belly Up Sports Cup Series.
Surprisingly, this would be his first full distance win if it holds.
Yeah, hasn't been able to not lock one of those in yet, but and this was a race run with patience in mind. Blake Reynolds did not start this race from the lead. He led every lap last week, but was not doing that tonight. He was back in the field in 22nd at one point after getting some crash damage in one of the incidents early in the event. As he comes down to collect 2 laps to go, he's in position rather easily to pick up his second consecutive championship and defend his title.
Of course, you talk about those full distance races, how the cream rises to the top. The full distance winners this season: Matthew Weeks, Jonathan Cutlip, Zach Novak in the Southern 500, and possibly Blake Reynolds here if he can hold on for one more lap.
Coming around to get the white flag is Blake Reynolds. Started 7th, fell back early, and rose back to the top late in this race and is now able to take the white flag. Tyler Fody is making him a challenge, but it's just not quite enough. The iRacing refresh was a big story all day. These guys were able to race really hard. But at the end of the event, Blake Reynolds able to do what he's done all season long, be really strong on the long green flag run, acquire track position, roll off turn 4 here, and collect his second consecutive Belly Up Sports Cup Series championship and the Best Friends Animal Society 400 race win. Tyler Fody finishes second. Scott Crump rises up to third. Jonathan Cutlip will finish 4th in this one off the podium after a valiant effort to collect his first career championship. Ethan Burrell finishes in 5th, closing the season with an excellent top 5 results. Ethan Stanley finished 6th. Corey Abbott with a top 10 run in 7th. Mal Mikolajczyk 8th. Daniel Gore 9th. Seth Rawls finishes in 10th.
He got hot when it mattered most, right? Only had the one win in the regular season. Didn't win in the round of 16 at all, but 2 wins out of 3 in the round of 10. And now the Best Friends Animal Society 400 win to take the championship for Blake Reynolds.
It was a tumultuous season for Blake. He did not make friends in the early part of the year, but got a lot of congratulations here down the stretch. And has conquered this Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series one more time. And it hasn't been like it's domination, right, Zach? I mean, he's had to work for these races. He's had to work for these championships.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the season, we figured, okay, it's got to be domination by this team, but we really weren't sure which driver out of the stable would come out on top. You know, and sometimes it looked like Zach Novak would be the guy to beat. And, I mean, of course, who could fault that with his resume? At times it was, Ethan Stanley. I mean, during the second half of the regular season, he was absolutely on fire. But then here at the end, it has been Blake Reynolds as he gets the celebratory contact from teammate Paul Mikolajczyk.
Yep. He and Garrison Hogan are both out here celebrating for the Channel 199 championship here. We will go to the podium and grab Scott Crump. I talked to him after a very adventurous day where Scott was sideways and off the apron a couple of different times and managed to rally to finish 3rd. Scott, I mean, take me through the night because that was a wild comeback for you.
Yeah, definitely the car was on the edge and you had to be aggressive to be up there and stay up there. And yeah, we were pretty fast tonight and made a couple mistakes, got ourselves in trouble or whatever, and had to fight back through the front. I think definitely probably passed most cars tonight. And just kept on and had to fight and battle back all night.
You touched on it there, David. It definitely talked about in the race as well, how this car and this platform rewards you for being aggressive, but it's so easy to walk over the edge there. How challenging was that to manage over the course of 400 miles, especially with the track conditions changing, the track temperature cooling off as the race went on, trying to figure out where that edge was?
It was definitely an edge. You catch somebody like the wrong air on you or whatever, like you get real close to somebody, they'll just lose the front end and try and snap loose on you, or you're too close to somebody's right rear on the outside and it'll get you loose. And you throttle up too early or too hard, it will get loose. It was really easy to get loose tonight. And yeah, you definitely seen it because a lot of people had trouble tonight. And yeah, it was just some pretty good, awesome racing, good racing once we got going green and stuff. So yeah, so all in all, it was a good night for us.
Scott, are you able to take this solid result and translate it to success next season, when we get back to Daytona in January?
All in all, I had a pretty good year this year. Just had that one bad race in the playoffs where we got wrecked, where we were running like seventh or whatever. That pretty much took us out and made us a must-win right there and going into Richmond. So yeah, we had what I think this is my sixth podium or fifth or sixth podium this year. So definitely had a good runs this year.
And before we let go, Scott, who do you have to thank on this third place finish tonight?
Stay Tuned Sports Podcast, Blue Egg Marketing, Lake Norman Motorsports. Had a good night running with Tyler and Gavel. We were battling hard. Caleb was fast early on, just got into some trouble. Tate was fast and he got into some trouble. Give a shout out to my grandfather watching, my wife for letting me race, and give a shout out to David and Huck. Y'all do a heck of a job, and Zach. And Chad for putting on the league, and congrats on Reynolds for winning the championship. Well deserved. Pretty much class of the field most of the year, and hopefully we can do something next season.
Gotcha, Scott. Well, we appreciate it. Congrats on the podium tonight, and we'll catch you next season.
All right, thanks.
Go grab Tyler Fody and yank him up here. He did not join the waiting room, and I'll get mad at him for that. Tyler, we got you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So P2 tonight, Tyler, obviously you were not a part of the championship conversation, but we know you wanted to head out on top. In lieu of talking about the race itself, give me some thoughts on your Belly Up Sports career running for full season points over the last, I think, like 10 seasons.
Yeah, 2020A. Been a fun ride for sure. I didn't know we were going this way with the conversation, but that's fine too. I still hyped up about this race, but yeah, no, it's been good. I think some people have kind of known for a little bit about hanging up the old full-time NASCAR deal, but really just wanted to push to that 100th win in total for before we called it quits there, which was cool to finally get that earlier in the year in the Xfinity car. And yeah, that was really the last goal. We've kind of got been able to check off everything else as far as grabbing a title in each of the series and being top of the top fives, tens, whatever you call it. I'm just a stat guy, so I'm always chasing after those categories. But last one was to get the 100 wins and maybe have another shot at one more title, which almost had on Monday. But yeah, it's been fun. This will be for the foreseeable future the end of full-time NASCAR stuff. I'll still be doing the crown jewels for sure because I love those the most with this league in general. So we'll be back for the 3 crown jewels and Cup. But aside from that, going to be kind of focusing in on full-time IndyCar, trying to get that title there because no one's been able to do all 4 of the Premier Series. I guess you could consider it being Cup, Xfinity, Truck, and Indy. Tate and myself got all the NASCAR stuff, and Chad got an IndyCar thing before any of us were around and has Truck and Cup. So no one's got that 4th, and that's what I'm going to try and do and kind of get after that with IndyCar and make that my focus. And obviously the sports car series, I've really been enjoying that. And 2003, when that comes back around, that's a fun thing. But as far as Cup, Xfinity, Truck, full-time, we're going to be hanging that up for now.
Well, whether or not you're part of this deal full-time next season or not, you got a glimpse of what we're looking at for the near future, at least, with this next-gen car on iRacing following the big refresh this week. And I don't know how it was in the car, but it was a very entertaining product for us here in the booth. What did you think of the racing we got tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little different perspective, not really having no pressure. So I thought it was really fun. It was long, but it kind of, everything kind of came to us at the end there. And as far as the actual like car and package, and I guess this is true to real life. It's fun to race until you get the tires kind of worn in and it's just the dirty air really is something you got to be mindful of every single lap after lap, trying to make runs. But I will say it felt better than some other tracks. I don't know if that was just a track thing, but the battling was super fun for sure. Throwing sliders and side drafting and aero blocking. I mean, we had it all, and you saw that tonight with how intense it was getting at the end. So I like it. I wish the dirty air wasn't as bad as it was, but I guess if they're making it true to life, it's I guess realistic. But overall fun, I would say, would be how I'd describe it.
Tyler, I'll just swing it back. I usually ask this one about, the next race or the next season or whatever, but I kind of already did that. So kind of back to this. Did you have anything there for Blake? Maybe if, you had a few more laps to close down, or were you kind of just stuck in the wake there in the closing laps?
No, I knew I had speed to get to a half second of him. I'll put it that way. I just had to clear through some of those guys, and once I got to second, I mean, it was taking everything I had to close a 10th a lap, and from about a second back, and got it to 3 to 4 tenths, and that was basically it. I mean, he knows what he's doing, so it doesn't take much to just kind of be somewhat in front of the guy behind you on equal tires there, and it's nearly impossible. But I don't think any more laps would have helped. It would have taken a slip up and some kind of big run and a move. But happy with the battle. I mean, we had some fun battles throughout the field, and came up one short, but it was fun to be a part of it.
And before we let you go, who do you have to thank on this runner-up finish?
Well, yeah, just the Lake Norman guys all season long, as you know. It's always fun running with that crowd. Had Tate with us this year, which was super fun. Class act, as most of us already know. But yeah, Gavel, Scott, Caleb, we're all there this season. Even our affiliates over at South Shore with Daniel and my dad, McIntosh. I mean, those guys all, and Ray Bracey, can't forget Ray. They were all a part of a big group, I guess you could say, throughout the season. And it's always fun racing with those guys, specifically just talking with Daniel this in the waiting room, how some of those guys have improved over the season, especially some of them being newer to oval stuff. And yeah, just kind of the whole group combined, the two of our teams, just being up front and competing is what we like to do. So shout out to those guys. Shout out to John Cutlip, not only for being the doing all the paint schemes for us this season with JD Designs, but just for being a competitor tonight. I really was rooting for him, and he's been deserving of one of these for so long, and he just always ends up getting screwed over at the end. So hate it for him, but yeah, shout out to you guys too up here in the booth doing the commentary and the cameras all season long, and putting on these broadcasts for us to go watch back. So always appreciate that. And yeah, I maybe we'll end up talking to you guys in some of these crown jewels, seeing how we do there. But other than that, like I said, going to be running the Indy and the sports car and the O3 stuff. So we'll see.
Appreciate it, Tyler. Congrats on runner-up finish in your last full-time race. I guess final question would be, when are you coming up joining the booth?
I mean, the schedule will be more open, so maybe I don't know. I don't know if people really want to hear that much more of me, but depending on the race, I may be interested in one or two. We'll see.
Well, we always have openings for substitutions. We'll get you in touch with our guy. We'll get your people in touch with our people and see if we can make it happen at least one time next year.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Take it easy, guys.
Runner-up finisher Tyler Fody in his final Elite Belly Up Sports Cup Series race as a full-time driver. And let's go grab the champ, Blake Reynolds, and bring him in. Blake, we got you?
Sir.
Well, Blake, congrats on the championship. We talked to you before the night. We were talking about how it was going to be different than last week, and I think you climbed a much higher mountain than starting on the pole and leading all the laps like you did last week. Couldn't have been two different races. Take me through the struggles at the beginning of the night to get through the field and get towards the front.
Well, I had kind of forgotten in the patch notes they kind of did a refresh of the way the dynamic tracks worked, and I I obviously didn't have any laps on it because we didn't race after the build, or I didn't race anything oval. I kind of just ran the Miami and Adelaide track for fun. But this track was lively. It was, I don't know how else to describe it. It was just kind of wild. Several times at the start, you're in dirty air and you think you're gonna be tight, and then it would just get loose on you, just because the left rear would hook a seam or a rubber patch or something, and it almost felt like the rubber was wearing the tires more than like ripping the outside at the start. Those guys at the start, they weren't falling off, and I was just running the bottom, and I kind of felt like, why are my tires melting? So I was just, I knew if I created a bad habit at the start, it was gonna be the end of me at the end of the race, because I knew this track, the way they were on the top, it was going to get rubbered up. So I figured just lay off, do not go 100%, because there were people, getting loose, all sorts of stuff. People were racing wild. I'm sure you guys heard the chat all night, but Chad was freaking out. He was like, you guys are racing way too hard. And I kind of agreed, and I almost got caught up in that crash that ended up killing Wadsworth and Gavin Hibbs. And from that point on, I was like, okay, just don't push it. Do not push it.
Well, to that point, obviously we talked to you before the race. You mentioned not getting as much practice time as you normally do on a Wednesday night. Add in the refresh and all of that. Is this a case for you where maybe the full distance race played to your advantage because you could kind of use that first half to figure out some of that stuff, go to school a little bit, and put yourself in position in the second half?
Absolutely. I'm not racing for stage points. I didn't even know what the stage lap number was, to tell you the truth. It didn't matter. So I knew I wasn't having to race for that. I could just bide my time. And I think around lap 130, I took a pee break. I went to the back. It's a long race, man. I had 2 waters in my dinner, so and my water next to me. Hey, man, it was clear in there. I'll tell you that, completely clear.
This championship talk is.
Yep, well worth it. Well worth it, because I think that was kind of the reset I needed. The track was rubbered in at that point, and we had some longer green flag runs after lap 130, I think. So. Obviously we had a green flag pit stop thrown in there, and actually I thought I lost the race. If that caution hadn't come out with like 40 to go, I had passed Fody and Weeks and John on that long green flag run right before I went pitted, and I took the lead, and then I went to pit and I slid the box. In my head I was like, oh my god, this is just like Monday all over again. I just throw it away on pit road just because I didn't practice it. And another thing with the refresh is the marbles. If you look at the apron on all these tracks, the marbles are mounted on the apron. So that pit entry, I was looking back at Monday night at Kansas. I'm pretty sure the reason I got loose was just because I had my bias kind of aggressive, and then I got on those marbles and you just couldn't stop. Same thing here. I barely got it stopped for pit road, even though I was super conservative. And then into my box, I just, we had 40% tires. I had no idea where to brake, and it's a slick pit road. But yeah, I feel like I learned a lot for one race, It's kind of like if you ever play F1 Manager, you get your guys out for practice, you run as many laps as they can, get 100% setup knowledge.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a great way to put it. I feel like that's kind of how it went. It took you a long time to get up to the race lead, and after it all, right, it was a really solid season for you, really solid season for your team. You guys won a whole lot of races this year. What are the plans to run it back in 26A?
I know Paul wants to run. I know Garrison wants to run. I think I'm doing part-time. It seems like every Wednesday night, my friends are like, "Hey, you want to go see a movie?" Or "Hey, you want to go to a bar?" I'm like, I got a race, So I think I'm gonna do full-time GNS on Monday nights, if that's still the same. I'm pretty sure it is.
It is.
and then this part-time, I'll do the 500. I'll do the probably the 100% races. I like those. I like those a lot. So, or a track I like, But if we go to a track I don't like Kansas or Las Vegas, I don't like Las Vegas either. Yeah, I'll probably just be more open to skipping. I already told Chad that I'm going to let my charter lapse if that does happen. So, congrats to whoever gets my charter next year. I will be using it for the 500 though.
Smart choice there.
If
That'll
you've got it, use it. If you've got it, use it.
Of course.
Smart play there, Start.
Before we let you go, Blake, obviously you are the winner. You are the champion. Last word on the season. Who do you have to thank for this effort this year?
Well, beautiful sponsors and teams. Travis Pastrana and Channel 199 Sim Racing. Shout out to them for supporting me the last 2 years now. It's been a cool ride with them, and having Track Racer Simulation on board, my own personal sponsor, Machine Works, Racecraft Academy, where I do coaching, just supporting me all throughout the season and the previous season as well, as long as I've been in Elite. My teammates in this series, Garrison Hogan, Ethan Stanley, Zach Novak, Paul Mikolajczyk. Shout out Paul. He got 8th again. He's on a run. He's on a tear. Shout out to him. And shout out to Garrison before he spun on pit road. He was having a good night too. Shout out to John Cutlip. I know y'all aren't going to interview him, but he probably was going to win this championship without the cautions tonight. Much like Fody got to me, I don't think I was going to pass him. It just got to that point of the race. So shout out to him. Shout out to Weeks too. And unfortunately, I didn't get to race Wadsworth much before he got killed. But shout out to them. Shout out to y'all for broadcasting this whole season. I'm sure it'll be a good watch back. And Chad and whatever admins he has, I don't know who they are, but shout out to them. And what's the sponsor for this? Belly Up? Are they returning?
The league, yes. And yeah, I think so.
Well, shout out to them. 2 championships under the Belly Up name, so shout out to them. And Merry Christmas, everyone, I guess.
Perfect. Well, congrats on the championship and race win, Blake, and we'll see you for the 500.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Blake Reynolds, and that'll do it for the 2025 B season, Zach. It was quite a ride. 2 drivers retired from full-time competition in the interviews.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, that's going to open things up for the championship. That's
absolutely. It's going to open some things up next year. I'm looking forward to a month off, spending some time home with the family for the holidays, of course, but it's got to be here before we know it. Cannot wait for the start of the 2026 A Cup Series season. Of course, we'll have the Clash on January 12th, the Duels on January 14th, and the Daytona 500 on January 21st. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention before we went off the air. I mean, first off, Blake, congratulations to Blake Reynolds on the championship. Of course, he also mentioned in his interview, not dissimilar from last season. Jonathan Cutlip was probably 1 caution away from a title. You have to think it's got to come at some point for him, but another heartbreaker for him. While we will be gone for a month, there will be still racing here in the rest of December here on the Elite Racing Network. Next week, Monday, will be the first night of the Elite Winter Derby at Five Flags Speedway, featuring the mini stocks, the street stocks, and the late model stocks. And then Tuesday night, the season opener for the new next season for the Infinity Graphic Design Dev Series. I have to learn the new sponsors for everything next season, including welcome aboard Infinity Graphic Design for the development series. They will be kicking off on Tuesday to start the 2026 A season with the ARCA car, and that is at Legacy, Texas. And then Wednesday will be the Elite Winter Derby 300 lap race for the super late models at Five Flags. So be sure to check out all of that next week on the Elite Racing Network. You won't hear my voice on any of that. I'll be racing on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'll be racing on Tuesday.
How about it?
So good luck to the drivers in the booth here, but also, exciting. Let's not get lost. The Best Friends Animal Society cause race on December 29th as well. Justin Wadsworth mentioned it at the beginning of the broadcast. Please do tune into that race, make donations, try to race in it if you can. And we will December 29th.
Further details to be determined.
Yep. Everything else is TBD. We tried to ask him. He didn't have anything.
We might be racing cross carts at the linear dirt track for all we know.
Right. So just be ready. And it'll be a fun winter of races before we come back in mid-January. It's been a great season with you guys. Love working with you. We will be back in January for the Daytona duels. So we'll see you guys then. Everybody have a good Christmas. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you later.